EMTs and a shift eye looking for quiet. Not surprising at the dark. The figure shows, bathrobe, trench coat. Who really knows? Raises a hand in the amber light. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong kind of night. And they drove like fear was fat. Like thinking twice, might slow them back. City jumped, city climbed aboard. But the truth don't match the report. 2 miles past the Dairy Queen sign, that story held for a little time. Yeah, the wheels kept turning clean till it all got caught on the screen. Dispatch said we hear him scream. Static cut through that bad routine. Check your rig, you might want to stop. But they didn't even ease it off. Maybe he's under, we're not sure yet. That's a hell of a thing to forget. When your whole job's keeping folks alive, not dragging one down, 119. Yeah, they drove while the radio begged, while a man's last breath turned into dread. Procedure gone, common sense dead, just ties and road and what lay beneath. 2 miles past that neon glow, where they should have stopped, but didn't though. Yeah, the truth rode under steel unseen, till it showed up cold on the screen. John was broken years before bus crash kid at 16's door. Mine don't work like yours or mine, but that don't mean you leave him behind. No knife found, just a story built to cover tracks and bury guilt. But cameras don't forget a bend, and lies don't hold up in the end. If it was some guy in a pickup truck dragging a man, he'd be locked up. No gray area, no delay. He'd lose his freedom by next day. But badges buy a little time. Investigation softens crime, while 2 dumbasses plead their case, and footage puts them in their place. Yeah, they drove till the screaming stopped, till the truth broke through what they thought. Yeah, the story cracked, the footage spoke, and every easy lie just choked. 2 miles past where excuses die, where you can't outrun what you try. Yeah, the badge stayed clean, but barely now, with the whole damn county asking how. Fog still hangs on Elkview Road, but everybody knows what the camera showed. And them 2 can talk all they want to defend, but that ride don't get a different end. Rest easy, John.
Woo!
Rest easy, John.
That's a tough one to listen to. Welcome in, guys. I just wanted to pay another tribute to this this man, John Curtis Lucas, before we get started. Welcome into the live, guys. Tough day for the family. Let's keep them in their thoughts and prayers. Pretty tough day. Tough song. Tough song. Hey, Rich, I see you. Give me a minute. Let me get plugged in here. I didn't know you were going to hop up just like that. I like that. You're actually becoming trained. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, you have me trained.
You surprised me. You generally don't get in here that early, so I'm like, okay, he'll be a little bit fashionably late, but you're here on time. Guys, welcome in. As always, I'd like to give everybody a chance to come in and get settled. Leave your favorite comments. Leave your memorial. Leave your thoughts and your prayers for the family before we get started. because tonight is going to be a good night in terms of information. What's up, Rich?
Just keeping an eye on the draft.
How you doing today?
I'm hanging in there.
That's all
Yes, I am
we can do.
I had spaghetti.
Guys, welcome in, welcome in. I've got Coco riding shotgun tonight. Be sure to let us know, guys, as you come into the live. Let me know, let the community know where you're watching the show from. That's always important because we want to acknowledge you guys. So if you can, please let us know where you're watching from. I see some Pittsburgh. Let's go, guys. Come on, tap away. Elkview, West Virginia, Louisiana, Washington. Rich, you're going to have to help me. Dunbar, West Virginia, Clendenin, Virginia. You're going to have to take
Ohio.
over. I can't read.
Iowa, Chicago, Charleston, West Virginia, South Florida.
South Florida in the house.
Thought I saw Georgia there. Yep, there's Georgia. California, Cleveland,
I see some Arizona,
Ohio,
Wisconsin, Arkansas, Big Chimney, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Maryland.
Palm Beach.
Wait a minute, there it was. Scotland. Scotland in the show. Scotland in the house. Thank you, Scotland.
Gulf Coast, Florida.
UK's in the house, Rich. Welcome in, guys.
Is it our regular?
It's going so quick I can't read it. Camp Lejeune. Hoorah.
Yep.
Orlando. Welcome. Scotland. Another Scotland. Welcome. Montgomery from West Virginia. Okay, from Elkview. Okay, I got you. Phyllis, thank you and thank him for his service. We love our military and we love our troops. St. Albans, Maine, Indiana, Apopka.
Familiar with Apopka.
A lot of people. Here we go. Ottawa, Canada, baby, in the house watching the show. Rich, yeah, we do love our vets. Rich, isn't it amazing how a couple guys, a handful of guys, can put together this broadcast, hit the on button, and you get viewers and interested people across the globe. It just blows my mind.
It is amazing, honestly.
It's
feels
amazing.
like they're part of our family now, though.
Guys, welcome in. We'll give it a few more minutes. We always come on here a little bit early, Rich, so we can let everybody grab their favorite snack, their drink, and sit back. And Rich, let me give you a little preview. You don't even know who's coming on. I don't think you've been on social media today. Rich, when we started this, I promised myself that we would.
Oh, my dog's.
Somebody's not happy.
She's a big one, too. Hold on 1 second.
We'll let Rich clean his puppy up there. Someone sounds hungry. But guys, when we started this thing, I promised myself that if I was going to do this, I was going to do it right and do it correct. For the new folks, I'm Jamie Copenhaver, live in Cocoa Beach, Florida, former law enforcement. I've done private investigations, and I've done network news on the networks and local news for the past 16 years. And I'm joined nightly by men and women that I've worked with personally that I trust, that have the credentials and the experience to come on here and talk up about these cases. But as an added extra bonus, I was taught early on doing TV news that you have to have experts. And I don't want you just to hear it from us. We're going to bring the good experts on, proven credibility, and tonight will be no difference. If you joined us, if you stayed with us for the last couple, 3 or 4, 5 days, we had a traffic homicide reconstructionist expert on out of Winter Park, Florida. But I wanted for my family and my hometown out of Elkview and Charleston and Kanawha County, I wanted you guys to hear from a local expert. He'll be joining us about 15 or 20 after the hour. And it's Michael Kidd, private investigator. Rich, I tell you what, I looked over his resume today, and as always, I was floored, number one, at the experience. The guy writes the checks that he can cash, if you know what I mean. You're on mute. So we'll be joined by Michael Kidd coming up at about 15 after the hour. In addition, guys, and I really don't think, I don't think Laura will mind that I share, I'm not going to share the details of the conversation because I certainly don't want to do that, but spoke with John Lucas's sister, Laura, today. And that family, Rich, is holding up. You know, they had a tough day again today, right? And she may or may not step in and say some words. I told her no. Well, I didn't tell her no. But I'm like, if you don't come in, no one in this group would they understand, right? And I conveyed a message from all of us in our community to get some rest and take care of you. Because that family's been through you know what.
Yeah, their stress levels through the roof, and they probably need a few days to just calm down a little bit.
And I have some other breaking news out of Elkview, West Virginia. In the procession, there were a motorcyclist that had a crash. And I'm really hesitant. I was trying to independently confirm the name. And I really don't want to put the name out. If you guys feel comfortable and you've confirmed, I know who it is, but I out of respect, I didn't want to name the name. I'm hearing he's in the hospital, Rich, and it's you know, a lot of prayers to this guy. And he went down on a motorcycle during the procession. So I mean, let's hold him and that family and those doctors up, and let's pray that he gets the healing that he needs and comes out of this okay. Because here we go, another victim out of something that should have never happened, Rich Brown.
You know, that's funny. You just took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's just one thing after the next, after the next. We talked about that multiple times. When something happens to somebody, most people don't think about it, but there's generations after that are affected. Possibly that they're never even here with us.
That's right. And, you know, like I said, I was going to announce the name. I just don't want to do it, Rich. I don't know if all the family, I know it's on social media, guys. Please don't give me some grace on that. I just, out of the respect, I don't want to drop the name until I'm given personal permission to do that. So it's on Facebook if you guys want to look to see who it is, but well known in the community. And what do you say, man? Another casualty from this crime that should never have occurred. All right, let's break it down before we get started, Rich. I'm excited to get Michael Kidd on. Earlier today, this is twice I've seen your beautiful faces. I was on, earlier today, I did a live Fox newscast and covered a story out of Tampa Bay, Florida. Rich, they have been, and I told you about this, they were two missing University of South Florida students. They had been missing for 7 days. Law enforcement started kind of sniffing a trail of a suspect. They interviewed the suspect yesterday, and like in a lot of these cases, they just didn't have enough probable cause to make that arrest. Fast forward early morning, they were called to the residence of the suspect of some type of domestic call. Rich, I have you to know, they arrived, got the family of the suspect out of the house, but he took up a barricade position, and it was a standoff with a SWAT team for many, many hours. So they had a SWAT operation. But I'm happy to announce they were able to get him out of the house and actually arrest and charge him. And while that was happening, we were covering a main bridge in Tampa Bay that was closed. They located a decomposed body under that bridge in Tampa Bay, which turned out to be the male subject of one of the kids missing from the University of South Florida. So currently, we have a missing female student that is not recovered and not returned home. So let's hope the cops get it right in that interview, and let's hope he cooperates and at least tells us or tells them where this young female student is. Horrible news.
Weren't they in the doctorate program?
They were. They were from Bangladesh.
I just glanced at it.
So, we covered the news live during that press conference, and of course, you always want to know why, the motive, right? So, one can only surmise that the suspect they have in custody allegedly had feelings for this young female USF student, and it could be possibly some jealousy issue. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what it would tell me, Rich.
I actually saw a case exactly like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it later because it's a little bit gruesome, to be quite honest with you. But I saw that exact same case.
All right. I am going to turn the reins over to my trusted partner who's riding shotgun tonight, Coco, Rich Brown. And I'm going to get our expert on the phone and get that going. And let's see if we can move this program up. Rich, if they have any questions to the private investigator, he's worked a lot of these cases just like this. He knows most of the players involved in this case. So it's going to be interesting to see what Michael Kidd brings to the broadcast. So I'm going to politely put myself on mute, get our expert lined up, and let's get this thing cooking, man. I'm ready to go.
And someone asked what type of dog that was. It was barking in the background. It's a pit bull. It's female. She's about 90 pounds, 95 pounds. Very sweet, though. Very sweet dog. Where has Steve been? That's a good question. I'm going to have to ask him that. Wasn't he on just a couple nights ago when I was off? She should make an appearance. You want my dog to make an appearance? Sweet dog. She is a very sweet girl, and she's definitely a daddy's girl. She loves me to death. And I kind of love her too. There's Steve.
I'm here.
Howdy, howdy.
I am having truck issues.
Well, that's no good.
Yeah. And I have to replace my torque converter.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm kind of a car collector. I don't know if Jamie ever told you that, but...
Hey guys, I wasn't listening. Don't mean to interrupt you. I want to be respectful of Michael's time. It's my total pleasure to have first time guys. You're watching History Make. My good friend Michael Kidd from Nitro, West Virginia. Michael's a private investigator. He's worked tons of these cases. Michael, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you guys tonight.
I think we're more excited than you are to be on here, Mike. We want to hear from you tonight. So,
well, I don't know about that. I've spoke to a number of groups, and this is my very first podcast. I'm generally speaking in person, so it's my first podcast, although I have done radio interviews, so I think I'm equally excited.
Michael, just for the fans and the viewers, just give us a brief rundown. Where have you been for the past umpteen years? What's your brief experience? Just so they get a feeling for who you are, and I want you to do that because you know yourself better than any website out there.
Certainly. So I'm a local guy, born, bred, raised in the Charleston, West Virginia area, although I've never lived in Charleston proper. Grew up in Cross Lanes, West Virginia, went to Nitro Junior High, Nitro High School, attended college at West Virginia State College, which is now West Virginia State University, down in the Dunbar area, got a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. Concurrent with while I was attending college, I also graduated from the West Virginia State Police Academy in May of 1984. So I missed a semester of college, but got college credit for my attendance in the academy. Started my career at a little town with about 18 officers, Dunbar Police Department. Went from there to Kanawha County Sheriff's Department, which is the main county, the county seats in the state capitals in Charleston. I worked 84, 85, 86, 87 as a police officer. 1988 started my own private investigation business. I do not do the type of private investigation that many people see on television. I don't do the cheating spouses and that sort of thing.
So we don't have any dark-seated movie theater stories, Michael, when we get finished?
Unfortunately not. It's more bland than what people would imagine. I have spent a lot of time in the seat of my car conducting surveillance, but it's primarily of folks who have been in car accidents or injured on the job, claiming they can't do certain things, and lo and behold, I catch them carrying shingles up a ladder, or riding a four-wheeler, or riding their jet ski, or any number of other things.
Yeah, we know how that works. Listen, let's get right into it.
Yes,
Michael,
sir.
This case, we spoke briefly on the phone today, and I was telling you I was trying to find a traffic homicide guy up there, a reconstructionist, and I called a guy, and he heard the name. He's like, "That case is too hot. I want nothing to do with it. Thank you. Never call me again." So this case has some tempers flared up in Kanawha County. You've seen the video. You've heard the narrative when law enforcement released that day one or day two of this crime.
Yes.
Michael, and we know that the family's lawyer has a private investigator they've retained. So we just kind of want to go through what that looks like if you were investigating this, perhaps for the family or any other family. What do you look for? What are you watching for? And more importantly, when you saw that video, what stood out to you, Michael?
Certainly. Before I go down that road, let me just give you the 10-second version of some similar cases I either have worked on or I'm very familiar with, because this is not the first time something like this has happened. Many years ago, one of the officers from my department was chasing a shoplifter, and when I say chasing, a vehicle chase, and the suspect ran a four-way stop and was broadsided by a garbage truck and was killed on the spot. Another case I was involved in, an ambulance in a suburb of Charleston was running code, meaning running with their lights and siren, blew through a red light and killed someone. And I could go on and on. I've got a couple cases on my notes here of Charleston police officers, some running code, some not running code, who crashed and caused a fatality. But there's one case I wanted to bring up before I transitioned to this ambulance case, because there's a lot of similarities. In 2010, I worked on behalf of the family of a young boy who was 13 years old. He lived out in Beckley, West Virginia. And as young kids will do, him and his older brother decides they're going to sneak out of the house at 12 midnight and walk down to the local Walmart. So the young man takes his skateboard. It's middle of the night. There's no traffic out there. And it's a 5-lane highway. There's 2 lanes north, 2 lanes south, and a turn-only lane. This young man puts his skateboard down. There's no traffic coming. And he starts motoring down, or, scooting down the highway on his skateboard. Well, along comes a West Virginia State Police cruiser. I later talked to witnesses who estimate the speed at about 70 miles per hour. No lights, no siren, not on the way to a call. I later heard the video I later obtained and heard the video where the trooper very nonchalantly says, "Headquarters, I'm going to be out of the car. I've struck something." He believes he struck an animal because he's obviously not paying attention to the road. I get the video from the nearby Walmart that shows him swinging a U-turn. The next thing you know, he's on the radio screaming hysterically for an ambulance that he's hit a kid. I talked to a witness who says he was on his way to pick up his wife from the convenience store. He was the first witness to come by, saw the kid laying in the middle turn lane, very important, middle turn lane, and the cruiser stopped there with lights on, and he goes to pick up his wife as cruisers start arriving from every direction, just like you would expect. 20 minutes later, when this witness comes back by, the body's been dragged over into the traffic lane, out of the middle lane, and the cruisers have basically circled the wagons, you might say. Later on in litigation, because I worked on this case from start to finish, there were numerous dash cam videos on the cruisers. Guess what? Every single one of them, quote, malfunctioned, unquote. One of them to the point that they just admitted, yeah, we drilled holes through it. We didn't think it was relevant. A good friend of mine was the attorney on that case. It settled for a substantial amount of money. I felt very sorry, very, very sorry for the young trooper involved, but I didn't feel sorry at all for the organization of the state police. They lost a lot of credibility in that case.
That's tough, Michael. My goodness gracious. Should have been criminal charges brought.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not so much for the incident itself, but for the cover-up. And that seems to be what we're seeing right here in Elkview, West Virginia right now.
Let's go through that. When you first saw that video and you knew nothing about it, you saw that thing flash up on the news. What were your first reactions on that?
You know, if you just see the video and you don't know the story, you think it's somebody maybe with mental problems, which sure enough it was or seems to be. And there's really no explanation, but you hear all of these news stories from other states of crazy people attacking emergency personnel. So, you know, I mean, at first glance, I can understand whoever it is, male or female, driving that ambulance saying, oh my, what's this person up to? So that's my first reaction, is just seeing the video is, oh wow, this guy's up to no good. But as the story progresses and you start reading about, okay, they're locked inside the ambulance, they don't see a weapon, they think they see a knife, maybe, but they don't see a weapon for sure. They're securely inside their vehicle, and it really takes a turn for the worse when I read that they traveled almost 2 miles and are transmitting to the 911 center. They're hearing screams from under the ambulance.
And you know, I'm proud to say, and I do this with every guest we bring on. I give you a really quick read, but we didn't do anything scripted. You're on your own. I mean, the evidence and the facts in this case are going to lead you to whatever conclusion you give us tonight. So I just want the viewers to know you and I really didn't hound on any script or any agenda. But Mike, I got to say, you know, the Kanawha County prosecutor came out with a very weak press conference a few days ago. And they did admit, the sheriff actually, or someone from the sheriff's department admitted that things just weren't adding up as they were told originally. So that's a red flag, right?
Yes.
But more importantly, you know, they still haven't changed the narrative. And if you go to the national news and Google this, no one's changed the narrative. It's still the crazy guy running out, jumping on the hood of the ambulance with a knife. You know, as a private investigator working a case like that, I mean, what are the steps that you would do to go start building that case to perhaps build a civil suit, which I'm sure is coming and it's going to be a lot of zeros. But more importantly, Michael, try to show the criminal elements of crime or crimes to lobby the prosecutor's office to say, hey, here's an independent investigation.
So full disclosure here. First of all, you are absolutely correct. Earlier today, I guess it was, maybe yesterday or early today, is the first time you and I have ever talked. This evening, my wife tuned in for the first time ever to your podcast. So there's been no getting our story straight or anything like that. Other full disclosure is I learned that the attorney representing the family of the young man killed is not only a former client of mine, but a schoolmate, on and on. West Virginia is a small community. I know Scott's
a tough guy, buddy.
Yeah, he's an excellent attorney, has an excellent reputation. The family could not have done any better when they chose him as an attorney. And then on the other side, the current sheriff of Kanawha County has been a personal friend of mine since the beginning of my law enforcement career. Before he was even a policeman,
right.
We were friends when he was on the volunteer fire department and I was at Dunbar PD. So that being said, I've got the utmost respect for the sheriff himself. But nevertheless, to address what you said, I did make some notes of, the what ifs. What if I was called in by Scott Summers and he said, okay, here's the facts. Here's what's going on. How would I go about, first of all, gathering up evidence? And I'm going to go through some of those. But before I even do that, let me say this. I don't think either one of these ambulance personnel got up that morning and said, we're going to go out and kill somebody tonight. I don't think there's any intent. I don't think they had any malice. Now, whether or not they knew this guy from previous interaction remains to be seen. But I would venture to say they did not wake up that day and say, let's go cause harm to somebody. But nevertheless, again, based on what little bit I'm seeing on the news and from videos, there's some negligence involved. And I don't know whether that's just for the driver themselves or for the department, or if there's enough to spread around to several people. But I've made some notes of just things I would do, and these are in no particular order. But is it okay if I just run through some of those of what I would do if this was my case?
Yeah, and quite candidly, that's why I wanted you on, Michael, to let the viewers know kind of what the process is, what the family private investigator may be doing behind the scene. We're hearing he's working a lot, so it's yours. Take it away.
Yeah. So one of the first things I would do, and you'd probably get this in discovery from the attorney representing the ambulance authority, I would thoroughly review the policy and procedure manual of the Kanawha County Emergency Ambulance Authority. I'm certain they have some type of procedure in place that when you come up on a scene that is inherently dangerous, I know for a fact, because when I was an officer, there were times when an ambulance would get to the scene first, but they would not go in because they're waiting on law enforcement. So they would sit back at a distance and wait on law enforcement to arrive. So first things first, I would I would read that policy and procedure manual to make sure they've not violated any of their own policies and procedures. And again, in no particular order, I would pull the West Virginia driver's history of the ambulance driver. I would want to know, has this ambulance driver had any moving violations of any significance? I'm not talking about parking tickets or whatever. I'm talking about speeding, running stop signs, anything that shows poor judgment. I would check all sources. There are multiple sources of video. I mean, these days, everyone should assume they are on video all the time. Between ATMs, banks, schools, convenience stores, homes, individual private homes with Ring cameras, Blink cameras, or any other manner of doorbell cameras, there are cameras everywhere. So I would be canvassing the neighborhood, businesses and private residences, looking for any type of camera footage. I would file a Freedom of Information request with our local 911 center for any reports of a suspicious male matching the description of the deceased for at least the past year. I would want to know, is this the first time this guy's jumped out and did something crazy? Or, is he someone that everyone in the neighborhood knows? And when his name comes up, all the neighbors say, oh, that's old so-and-so. He's crazy. That's something you should know. I would want to check internal documents at the Kanawha County Emergency Ambulance Service of other paramedics who maybe had some interaction with this guy. If he truly had mental problems, like I'm hearing, there's a good possibility there's been other interactions by other paramedics. And maybe, and I do not know this, but maybe these paramedics have received word from coworkers that says, oh, if you ever cross paths with this guy, you better be careful because he's whatever, fill in the blank.
Let me stop you for a minute, Michael. Let me help you out a little bit. So John Curtis Lucas had a traumatic brain injury due to an accident. So, it was kind of known, maybe it wasn't known. We've had, I don't know, over the past week, hundreds of people on the show giving testimony that, it was John. John lived the life of a nomad, but John was certainly not violent in any way. The other thing that comes to mind, we're hearing multiple, I've heard it from 3 or 4 sources that John had a tick bite and had previously stopped a ambulance crew and maybe a Kanawha County deputy to look at his tick bite. So I just wanted to throw that in there. There's some history that we believe that has occurred with maybe not this particular crew on that ambulance, but certainly someone out of that the detachment.
Well, and in the numerous the terminology would probably read in the complaint, did they know or should they have known about his history?
That's right.
And that's going to come up in previous interactions with deputies, paramedics, fire department members, people in that area who possibly have interacted with this guy and sort of know, okay, this is not just a normal, well-adjusted young man out strolling the streets in the middle of the night.
Let me ask you this. When you watch that video, and I want to get right to the video, the original statement was, and they spun it as if this man come running out of between buildings, jumps on the hood of the ambulance, was armed. In that press conference, they certainly said, wait a minute, time out. We're hearing conflicting stories now. The stories aren't matching up with certain evidence and videos. But here's a caveat. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Department and that prosecutor, from what I understand, had this video that was leaked several days after this crime.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They weren't going to release that. That came from a citizen journalist. And we're into this thing 5 or 6 days. If the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department or the prosecutor had the same video that we saw on TV, Michael, should they not have came out and corrected the record and the narrative rather than continuing to allow other media outlets, other people read that it was a wild and crazy guy jumping on the roof or the hood of an ambulance and has slandered this man's name for many, many days? To my knowledge, Mike, they have still not corrected the narrative. Should that not have been done by the authorities?
Okay, they certainly should have corrected the narrative. That is, I don't need to think about that at all. That's a hard yes. On the other hand, I do understand when the prosecutor says we're not going to release the video because they have to think forward and say we don't want to taint the jury pool. At some point down the road, there's certainly going to be a civil trial and very likely a criminal trial as well. And every potential juror who has saw this video on television may now be disqualified from being on that jury. So I kind of understand saying, okay, we're the prosecutor, we're not going to release it, but I certainly think they have a duty to come forward and say, there's a lot of misinformation going around and let's correct the record right now.
Well, let me ask you another question. You've investigated a ton of these types of cases. You just went through a horrible tragedy of a state trooper hitting a small child. Michael, let me ask you, and I don't want you to say blame or not blame. I don't want you to say they should be arrested or shouldn't be. I brought you on to kind of go over the process as to what their investigator are looking for and what they're doing in the process. But let me ask you a question based on your experience. If you hit any object, any animal, and certainly a human being, whether that man was armed or not armed, and you allow that ambulance to continue after you accelerated, because the video is very clear to me, they accelerated the gas after they struck him.
Yes.
And they drove over 2 miles. They were told 4 times by the dispatcher, stop. They refused. They literally, at one point on the way back, did sort of a serpentine pattern from what and there evidence on the road that shows this, it's still there, as if they're trying to dislodge John Curtis Lucas from underneath that ambulance. In my opinion, that becomes a crime in itself. And let me ask you 2 questions. Number one, as a EMT, MS, any first responder, I think there's a West Virginia law or code that says you must render aid,
Yes.
not continue to drag a person to their death.
Yes.
So am I right on that, or where am I at?
No, absolutely. I mean, we see this all the time. And when I say we, anybody that cares to watch the national news, hardly a day goes by that you don't see an officer involved shooting somewhere. And if the officer does the right thing, once the threat is disabled, the next thing they do is immediately render aid. The very person who was shooting at them and trying to kill them, they immediately come to their aid and render aid because it's the right thing to do. I mean, and of all people, a paramedic whose primary job is to prolong and save life, to drag this person for close to 2 miles, it just defies logic. It defies all explanation. I mean, and again, I'm baffled as to why, what explanation could you possibly give? You know, it's one thing to accelerate and try to get away from the immediate danger. But once it's obvious that this person's no longer in your view, and if I remember correctly, there were radio transmissions of, we think we still hearing under the ambulance or near the ambulance. He was
screaming. You can hear it allegedly on the radio transmission.
That just defies all logic. I mean, I just cannot think of an explanation that would be acceptable to say we continue to drive 2 miles because, fill in the blank. I can't think of anything you could fill in the blank that would be acceptable, that would not be criminal.
And let me ask you this. As a private investigator, you covered the FOIA request, which is a Freedom of Information Act, to where you can gain governmental documents, video, all the above, right?
Yes.
Allegedly, now I want to make sure I'm clear on this to both you and everyone watching. Allegedly, I'm hearing by multiple people that dash cam video on that ambulance was operable. But in addition, Michael, there is audio, and it's my understanding these occupants of the ambulance had no clue it was being audio recorded. That would be something you would want to get your hands on as an investigator.
So I can tell you from personal experience, long before, dash cams were the thing to have, I have 3 vehicles, one of which is exclusively for my business as an investigator. Both my personal and business vehicles all have very nice dash cam videos with audio. Every time I start the vehicle, every time I turn the key, that thing starts recording audio and video. So yes, somebody needs to get their hands, or at a minimum, make sure it's preserved. Now, with respect to the FOIA, the Freedom of Information request, there is a provision or an exclusion that the people who hold that video, custody of it, like the ambulance authority or the police, they can withhold dispersing that to the public as long as it's an active criminal investigation. Now, once that investigation has been adjudicated, meaning either we've chosen not to prosecute or we've already prosecuted and they've been found guilty and there's no appeal, it must be made available to the public. So at a minimum, I'm certain Scott Summers is a very intelligent attorney. I'm certain he sent a letter of preservation to the ambulance authority and the sheriff's department and said, do not alter in any way that audio or video from the dash cam. We will want it when this case is over.
And then I just want to cover one more thing, and I want to bring you back, Michael. And I want you guys to understand, I brought him on to be unbiased because let me tell you something. When you do these investigations, you have to be unbiased. You don't take sides. And Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, you do your independent investigation, and wherever the chips fall, that's where you go. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I mean, just because I'm hired by a plaintiff's firm does not mean I'm going to deep six or hide evidence. Now, I may not turn it over to the other side,
right.
But whoever hires me, they're going to get the good with the bad. I've had the unfortunate job of coming back to the plaintiff's attorney saying, I'm sorry, but things are just not adding up the way you hoped. you might want to move on,
Let me ask you, final round. We did talk about this briefly. If you have this ambulance service that's attached to Kanawha Valley, you have the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department investigating as the lead agency. Michael, I've got to ask you, and look, let me tell you something. I know a few of those deputies up there. There's some good cops at the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department. But that being said, would the West Virginia State Police not be better suited and qualified, number one, on they're there at the lab, immediate response to the lab, they have all of the upgraded technology, but more importantly, they're not connected to Kanawha County. So I'm not saying have a trooper from the Kanawha County detachment in Big Chimney or Elkview to do this, but wouldn't it make sense to have a trooper out of the area, perhaps a lieutenant, a captain, to come in and independently take this case over so there is no room for error, number one, but also the optics of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department basically investigating their own county?
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. I can tell you from personal experience, the West Virginia State Police have teams of accident investigators, not in every county, but they have the state divided up into regions, or I think troops. And every region has a team of what I would call first responder accident investigators who can go out. Now, troopers can investigate, of course, their own case, but I'm talking about something like this, a high-profile case. Listen, the last thing you want to do is investigate something like this with your own agency or a parallel sister agency, the Kanawha County Emergency Ambulance Authority, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department. There's a lot of common denominators there that, they basically are funded out of the same purse, you might say. I mean, they have their own offices, but as you mentioned, it's just not good optics. It looks like the fox guarding the hen house is what it looks like.
And, I've been critical, Michael, with and I haven't discussed this with you, but I've been very critical of your friend, the Kanawha County Sheriff.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't want you to respond to this because you have a personal relationship with him, but I'm going to tell you something. My view on that, Mike, is if, in fact, that Sheriff's Department had this surveillance video that now we've all seen days later, and he hasn't set their record straight, I think he should resign. And I'm going to qualify as to why.
Yeah.
He's allowed this man, John Curtis Lucas's name, to be slandered, and it's continuing. If you go to any website, it's the same narrative. Crazy guy with a weapon jumps on the hood of an ambulance. No one from that sheriff's department has corrected the narrative. And I tell you, I'm very disappointed that someone either out of that sheriff's command center, command staff, or the prosecutor hasn't at least said, wait a minute, let's retract. We're still investigating. And I think the community would probably go with this. I just want to come out and give a cautionary statement. The original statements were based on limited information, and we're going to kind of retract some of the stuff until we do further. I mean, would that not be fair to the John Lucas family and John Lucas's name to at least come back and retract some of that and set their record straight? And here's why, and I'm going to let you close it with the following.
Sure.
We as a community are losing faith in the Kanawha County Sheriff by not doing that. And one more thing, Michael, that presser, it was like, we're not going to tolerate threats against our EMS people. And I'm telling you, if you threaten an EMS or any first responder, you need to go to jail. We all agree.
Right.
But
Right.
instead of standing up there and shaking your finger at the community, let's try to heal the community as the investigation is going. You've got to maintain the integrity of the case, but at least get out and say something that will give confidence back to the people.
Yes, I mean, I agree with everything you said. Now, let me just clarify this. I've known the sheriff, Joey Crawford, for many years, and he has the utmost integrity. So I just want to say that right up front. On the other hand, do people make bad decisions and sometimes fail to say things that they should have said or whatever? Of course they do. There's been many times I've had to go back and say, man, I got that wrong. Right. And at some point, I hope that will happen here. I do not think it's a situation of the sheriff or somebody lying or manufacturing evidence or destroying evidence. I don't think that's happening at all. But now, do I have time to just tell you a very similar story that I worked on just last year right here in my own county?
Absolutely.
I can do it in 60 seconds.
No, Michael, please. Thank you.
Okay. I was called in on a case where a young boy was crossing the street right here in the town of Hurricane. Well, Hurricane is what we call it, but the whole rest of the country calls it Hurricane. This young man was crossing. We live in a small town, small community. We probably got a dozen police officers. And this young man is crossing a not very busy street right at the edge of dark, going to a little restaurant across the street. Along comes a vehicle, nothing to indicate they were speeding or anything, but the vehicle, for whatever reason, is not paying attention, and they run over this boy's leg, and the boy screams and falls to the ground. The video footage that I later obtained shows this vehicle make a quick 90-degree turn down a side street and stop, completely get out of the vehicle, look back at the boy laying on the street, get back in the vehicle and drive off. The driver of this vehicle ended up being a Putnam County, her father ended up being very high up in the Putnam County EMS division. And suddenly it became very much like this Elkview situation. The social media is rampant saying this is a cover-up. This driver goes home, begins to take steps to hide her vehicle, to quickly have it fixed, trying to cover up what happened. And it's only because of some neighboring businesses where I obtained video and was able to show, oh no, she knew exactly, because she later claimed, I didn't know I hit anything. Well, why in the world did you stop your vehicle and get out and look and get back in it?
Right.
And the boy's screaming. So listen, like it or not, law enforcement protects their own, as does EMS or whatever. Now, but let me make this very clear. I in no way am saying that the sheriff's office is doing this, but it's just not good optics. You know what I mean? It really needs to be turned over to an independent agency. They could bring in an investigator from a neighboring sheriff's office that has nothing in it, or better yet, the state police from an agency 5 counties away, or a detachment 5 counties away that has nothing in it.
Yeah, and look, I got a little bit of heat in the chat for some of the stuff we've been talking about. I got it, guys. We'll address that in a minute. But Michael, I wanted you to bring me on because you're unbiased. You don't take sides, and more importantly, some of these investigative tasks that you're talking about. We watch a crime show on TV. It's an hour, minus the commercials. Now that TV show's 45 minutes. The crime's committed and the case is solved. The bad guy goes to prison in 45 minutes. That's not the case in real life. And I think I felt it in my heart. I wanted someone to come on that was going to be unbiased and at least walk us through some of the procedures. And what you're saying, Michael, takes time. It's called due diligence.
Yes.
Some of these things take time, but I just hopefully some of the folks watching can relate to that. And then, of course, we agreed on dragging John Lucas's potty for that long of a distance. And
that's just unexplainable. I mean, I cannot think of a reason that a jury would say, "Oh, well, now I understand. Now that you told me that explains why you drug him for 2 miles." I just can't think of a reason.
We'll close it with this. I mean, I could go on for hours with you, Michael, but I'm going to say one thing, and I want you to respond and tell me if I'm in the ballpark. I've been doing this a lot of years. I got 35 plus years in this business, some way, shape, or form. And when I hear you have a ambulance driver, whether it's intentional or an accident, I don't care, strikes a person and drags their body for 2 miles plus. Catch what I'm about to say, guys, and I want you to listen to this, Michael. That's a lot of time to construct a story.
Absolutely.
And as an investigator, that's what I'm honing in on. I see a few of the guys on the chat, they're nodding, but if I was working this from law enforcement, that would be my first mission. What was said in that cab, if in fact they have audio, and did they come up with a story? And I'm hearing it's not good on the audio, Michael. So we'll leave it at that. I don't know.
Let me interject just one more thing, and this is for another day, another podcast. But I've worked on very recently a number of cases against our Department of Corrections where inmates have either died in custody or nearly died from various instances. And the same attorney that I've worked on, I've worked on these cases for the same attorney for multiple clients. The Department of Corrections has a horrendous track record of destroying evidence, altering logs, anything they will stop. There's no level too low that they won't stoop to. So that being said, it's really good that the family lawyered up early on because Scott Summers can hold their feet to the fire. When I say they, I'm not talking about any particular person. I'm just talking about generally saying, I want this evidence preserved. I want to make sure we are included in anything that goes on, criminal or otherwise. I want the family represented.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, if I was on the other end of Scott Summers, I think I would probably grab my passport and leave. That guy, I wouldn't want him after me, man. Michael, listen, thank you. Thank you for your candor, your honesty.
Yes, sir.
For your good words. And more importantly, I'm eager to get you back on not just this case, but other cases in the future because you bring a lot to the table. Michael, real quick, where can people find you?
So I have a website. It's my last name is Kidd, Kidd. So the website's very easy to find. KIDD Investigations with an S.com.
Michael, it's an honor. And thank your lovely wife for giving up some time. And we appreciate you. We'll be talking soon.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
So there you go, guys. I wanted him on here for a couple reasons. To kind of demonstrate what the narrative would do to someone being hired, because you hear the wild and crazy guy. We talked about that. And since then, he's learned it's a TBI. I didn't tell him about the TBI intentionally because I wanted to hear what his honest thoughts were. And Steve Strickland, Rich Brown, we've done a bunch of investigations. Hell, they're probably 100 years of experience that you guys are looking at. You don't want to have a pre-deceived or pre-notion of anything you investigate. You want to go in like a baby and take baby steps and learn about the case and put it together. You don't want a preconceived notion of guilt or innocent on anything. And I know I took some heat in the chat, but you know what? That's real life. And Michael came on, was candid. And that's how these investigations should occur. You hear the narrative, and then you start changing the narrative. Steve Strickland, let me go to you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you go in with some preconceived ideas, you're often found to be wrong, because the backstories, you don't know what the real backstories are for each individual person that's involved in this. And that's what he was talking about is, you want to find out, did these people know him? Anything you can about them, because it's part of the process and it's part of the investigation. And I have to figure out what they did, what they knew, what they said prior to this, to kind of know a little bit more about them and figure out who they are as people, because that's going to be an important part of my going forward when I talk to them.
And Rich Brown, you heard it right from the horse's mouth. I mean, he's friends with the sheriff. But if you listen to what Michael Kidd just said, he has certainly seen his fair share of corruption. He's investigated cases where corruption was involved. And even, I don't want to put words in Michael Kidd's mouth, but perhaps the narrative should have been changed very early on so John Lucas's name would not continue to be slandered worldwide on the web.
See, that's my big thing. Okay, Sheriff, outside of him doing his job, may be a nice guy. If you're listening, Sheriff, how about you turn the damn case over to the state police? That way there is no question about whether it's being done correctly or incorrectly, or if there's any bias. That's the big thing he was talking about is, you want an unbiased opinion. Well, I'm sorry. I don't feel like this is an unbiased case. Because if it was, they'd turn it over to the state police and there wouldn't be any question of worrying about whether, we're going to get sued. Turn it over. Let them.
Well, they're going to get sued. We know that's coming. That's coming.
And that's my big thing about the press conference. Should have come out, like you said, and put it down the middle. Don't sit there and say it's so tough we can't figure it out. Well, so far we haven't recovered a knife. So far we found that he didn't jump on the hood of the car and on the windshield. How about give that guy some justice? He's the victim. So that's my opinion.
And here's the other thing. Guys, I'm watching the chat as much as I can. We don't call it an accident. I've got a couple guys to my left or right, whichever way. Are you guys to my left or right? So I'll know in the future.
We're on my screen, we're on the right, but we're probably to your left.
Yeah.
Got a couple guys got a couple guys on here riding with me. May or may not agree with me, but I will not. And I set the record straight a couple nights ago. To me, this is not an accident. It's not an event. It's not a happenstance. It's not something that just happened out of the blue. When I see a vehicle approach a person, and I see that vehicle stopping twice and then accelerating, and when you run a man over, to me, that's a crime. And I, on this show, will not call it anything other than I have watched a crime being committed before my eyes watching the video. Rich Brown, I'm going to go to you.
Thank you. Because that was killing me sitting there listening to you right now. Can anybody in this room please tell me, if you were in the driver's seat of that ambulance, would you not have seen the guy standing 15, 20 yards in front of you? Would you not have seen him when you accelerated? How would you have missed him and have a driver's license?
Well, let me go a step further, Steve Strickland. It's not a driver's license. You don't even have to have a brain. If you have a brain stem, you don't run a person over, period.
Yeah, accident flew out the door when they accelerated. At that point, you intentionally struck this individual in front of your car. So I'm not saying an intentional act as far as the murder, but you intentionally struck him, and as a result of driving 2 miles, this is what occurred. So yeah, it's a crime that occurred. And a lot of people in the chat, I said this the other night, people want to say, if it was me or you, we'd have been arrested that night. That's not necessarily true. This is a process. The story was different at the beginning. Now that it's come out, we know who these people are. We have a process. And what you need to understand is that the minute they put handcuffs on them, the attorneys have to start the clock. And so now we've got to be able to, if the defense says, okay, we want to go tomorrow, there's no choice. And the judges, you know, they're going to get continuances and stuff like that, but they want to prepare their case before they do this. And it is a process. I mean, we're going to see, this is going to play out over the course of probably a year. I mean, we may know something in the end of this year, but this is going to be a process that plays out for quite some time. And so they don't want to be too quick because they want to make sure they have collected everything, because you don't want to go to court and have the defense bring something else in that you've never seen. And so they want to make sure they've got everything ready.
I had a deer run out in front of my Chevy Suburban. I almost rolled the damn thing trying to avoid hitting a deer. I didn't see that thing swerve at all. And it should have.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to cut you guys off real quick. Hold on one second. Hi, Laura.
Good evening, guys.
How are you? Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Trying to get you on the big box here.
I
Laura,
look crazy
I don't know how to do
today.
it. Hey, listen. Thank you. We were just texting. And guys, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Stop typing. Just everybody stop typing. Not another comment. No more comments, please. Stop the comments for just a minute. And I want you to listen to this warrior. Laura, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me again. I just wanted to let everybody know we laid John to rest today. I'm tired and wore out and overwhelmed by the outpour of love from my community, overwhelmed by the outpour of you guys and your fighting for justice along with us, the answers. You know what I mean? I also wanted to let the audience know that on the way to his burial, there was a gentleman that was part of our procession that was on a motorcycle that I don't know exactly the details of what happened. He was in the back of the line. We was in the front. He was on a motorcycle and either hit a patch of gravel, or I heard a chain broke on his motorcycle, or he slammed on a brake. I don't know the actual details of that, but he's in ICU. Just, you know, keep him in your prayers. His name is Jimmy Young. Oh, that was a scary look. That was
I'm
scary.
sorry.
Right?
It would have been scary if my face was made bigger.
Oh,
Yeah,
No.
we opened with that, Laura. I didn't want to put his name out there because I don't know if the family's been all notified, so I didn't say the name. But now that we know, it's Jimmy Young. And
yeah, Jimmy Young. He was a good friend of John.
Yeah.
And prayers need for him and his family. They have been, his whole family has supported in every way that they know how. That was John's good friend.
Yeah.
And, you know, just the community's just being hit. The devil's attacking in every direction. So prayers for our community, along with, you know, justice, but just prayers.
Well, I promised myself, I didn't promise you, but I
Yeah.
promised myself that we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to be here every day. No one's going to forget the name John Curtis Lucas until justice is served. It's not going to happen, Laura. But listen to me. I respectfully, you know, I've learned how to say respectfully now when my wife has taught me that. Please get some rest and just turn the world off just get some rest. Turn the world off. It will be here tomorrow. I promise you, no one in Elk River and worldwide is going to stop fighting. We got this. Your community's got this. Your friends have got this. Please get rest and unplug for yourself and your family. You
My
deserve it.
husband's
You've earned it.
my husband's taking my phone. I gave you my
I
number and his number.
yes, ma'am.
It's just unreal. Um, I know the fight's just begun, and I know it's not quick. And I pray for my dad. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
And my brothers and my family.
As
And my
do we all.
You know, I didn't know that a body could have so much water come out of it. But I just want to keep thanking you guys for the work that you're doing. And I appreciate all ways that you guys are looking at this. Like the good, the bad, the ugly, how it could be, how things may be interpreted. It's life. It's just, you guys are looking at this with open eyes from an outside perspective and with an honest outside perspective. So I wanted to thank you guys, and you just don't know, just keeping, I sent you, Jamie, the poem that he wrote.
May I publish that? I didn't want to do it without your permission.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. You can publish that.
I'll do
absolutely. That. And Rich and Steve, I appreciate you guys as well.
Well, we're here for you for sure.
I feel like this week has just been so slow and fast, if that makes sense.
It does.
But I wanted to thank you guys and know that he was loved so much.
Just to let you know, we have the UK in here. We have Scotland in here tonight. We have people from all around the world that have tuned in to hear the name John Curtis Lucas. And that's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Real quick, guys, before I'm gonna disconnect Laura, because I'm gonna put Laura on probation so she gets some rest. But guys, give for the next 60 seconds. You know what to do in the chat. Nothing but yellow hearts. You can do the green clovers. I don't care what you bring. Bring it for the next 60 seconds, nonstop. For John, the family, the father, and more importantly, and equally as important, the community of Elk River. You know what to do. Just watch this for a minute. Let's go, guys. Come on, tap. Let's go. Come on. Break the internet with these emojis. 30 seconds left. Come on, guys. 30 seconds. Come on. Get them in there. Laura, that's, I think, the only way right now the community can give back when you're on here is to show what the world is thinking. And that's my little way, or our little way of saying, we hear you, we see you.
I hear you and I see y'all.
So anything in closing, because I love you like a sister, but I'm going to hit that disconnect because you need to get some rest. Anything you want to say in closing, Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank God. Thank God for my Heavenly Father's love. I thank Him for loving me. And I know that we don't understand today's, but there's reasons that we might not know that's bigger. It could change laws that's been needed changed for a long time. And I know that my God is He goes before me. And y'all keep us in y'all's prayers. And I'm relinquishing my phone, Jamie.
I'll miss you, Rich, but get some rest.
Rich, thanks Steve, thanks.
I will be praying for you.
Okay, and I look crazy, but
No, you
I just
don't.
got out of the shower, and
Not
I
at all.
appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I do. And Jamie, you can release that video, buddy. You got my permission, brother.
Okay. Like I said, we don't want to do anything that would
I
be any
you
way
guys have been
disrespectful.
the most respectful. Bex has been
Yes,
respectful.
yes, he has.
Joe Nada has been respectful. So many people. I can't even go down the list. But Big Sister's going to get some rest, and
Good
Big
night.
Sister's going to get. She's got jobs to do.
Got a lot of work to do coming up, Laura. So get some rest. Get ready. Let these warriors fight your fight, and
Yes,
we'll be here when you get back.
yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Much love to your family and you. Bye.
Much love. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Let's just take a minute, guys. I need a minute. Let's just take a minute, and just think of what we just watched, heard, and listened to. That's tough. Haley, welcome.
Good evening, y'all. How you doing?
We're doing well. How about you?
We're fighting the good fight.
Haley, let the new viewers know who you are and who you're related to.
Hold on one second. Let me see if I can just help everybody out here. 'Cause I'm so hillbilly. I'm trying to figure out how to get my camera saved or opened here so that I can be a little bit more personal here. Since my mama
Haley,
did
every time I go live, I have to Google how to do it.
Since my mama did it, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to try to reveal myself here. I don't know how she did that. Does anybody know how to describe how to turn my camera on? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
Have you been live on there before on TikTok?
No, never. I've never had social media up until this point. I've been
Okay.
a very incredibly.
I don't think it'll let you until you have like 500 followers or something like that.
Okay. So the anonymity continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to invite her via camera.
Yeah, it won't work.
Access, so yeah.
But no, Haley, just tell the new viewers.
Okay.
I mean, we've got people here from Scotland, Ireland, the UK.
Okay.
Just tell them who you are and why you're here.
Okay. I am Haley. I am John Lucas's niece. I'm Laura's daughter. I've been on here a few times, and that's what the four-leaf clovers story came from.
Yep. Tough day.
Unbelievable.
Super tough day for your family and yourself.
Unbelievable. But I tell you, that woman you just spoke to, she's strong.
She is a warrior.
Yep.
I have to ask, how's Papa?
He's getting through everything the best he can. We all are trusting Jesus to take care of everything. He's comforting us in this moment. And we're just praying for everybody in the event that happened earlier. And we're just knowing that the Lord's going to take care of each and every piece of this.
And if you're just joining, during the procession, they had a motorcyclist that went down, Jimmy Young. Haley, I don't know. I've heard mixed reports from the hospital. Let's just all agree that this is going to work out for Jimmy Young, and these
Jesus'
doctors
name.
will fix it.
In Jesus' name.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I'm just honored you came on, and your mom's a tough act to follow. I wouldn't want to follow your mom because she put down some She put down some stuff tonight.
Yeah, I really just kind of wanted to get on because I just kind of had a funny little anecdote about today that reminded me of my Uncle John, and it was just a story that I'd like to share about him.
It's yours. Take it away.
Well, he was an animal lover through and through. He was always, like, the weirder the animal, the better. He's super big into reptiles, and he'd just catch a snake, picking it right up out of the grass. He just wild man. He just loved animals, didn't care. He had an alligator, even. He had a 4 or 5 foot boa. He was a brave guy. Well, I myself have a fancy ball python, and she's probably about what, Bradley? About 2 foot, maybe close to about 2 foot. Yeah, about. She's little necklace. So I wore her around my neck today in honor of Uncle John.
That's a good one.
So I wore a live snake to put my uncle to rest because I figured it'd be something that he would love.
But you know what? John Curtis would do something similar.
Yeah.
I've never met the guy. Us three in the panel, we've never met him, but we all know him. And I guarantee he would have done something like that. I mean, it's just who John was.
Yeah. I know that justice will be served because he was stolen from us, guys. He was stolen. That is the word that keeps coming to the forefront of my mind. They stole him from us.
Real quick, I had a conversation with someone today that can I share this, Haley, for a minute?
Of course, absolutely.
I had a little hate mail today, anonymous hate mail, and I guess they went through some social media and saw me in a church and saw my wife and I at church or what have you, and they were like, "How can you call? Let's see." It started out, the church should fall down if you ever go back or when you go back. You're not a Christian. You're judging people before. It's my simple answer to that. It's my belief and my understanding that Jesus is going to judge. He's not going to judge any of us on earth. But let me tell you something. He's going to judge you after earth.
Yep.
And the point of that is, God help those who have committed crimes that don't confess their crimes. Because let me tell you something, guilty, not guilty, prison or no prison, there's no more greater sentence than from Jesus when you meet him.
Yep. Because I tell you what, you can lie all you want with this fleshy lips and this fleshy tongue.
That's right.
But God knows your heart.
True.
And he was there that night. Whether they thought they were all alone or not. God was sitting in that cab listening to every word.
That's right. That's right. I mean, if I was in that position, I would be on my knees begging for forgiveness and repentance.
Yeah, and going back to what you said earlier about, judgment, it comes down to this. No man get to the Father lest he come to the Son. If you die, and, okay, he describes it as there's a paradise that he's created for us, and then there's an everlasting hell that's created for Satan and his demons. That place was never intended for us. It is a lie created by Satan. This is bigger than what it's even at face value. Change starts from the bottom. And the winds of change are blowing, my friends.
Yep.
Call upon Jesus, my friends. It is time to... He's at the door, my friends.
Haley, never met you, but you're definitely a sister from another mother. But you're a sister of the King.
That's right. You follow and serve our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We are, in fact, brother and sister.
That's right. That's right.
In the body of Christ.
I've got to
I hope to
ask.
see y'all all there. I know I'll see John again.
I got to ask you real quick, and I feel, there's never a dumb question. If you don't answer, the dumb questions if you don't ask the questions. Is there anything, obviously, than the prayers and the support, is there anything your family needs that the community can step up and help with? I don't care if it's a yard that needs to be mowed, a grocery store. Is there anything the community can do?
All I would like to say, and it doesn't have to even be the explicit community, this is something that everyone can do. Never stop talking about John and what happened. Tell everybody in real life, because this is happening in real life, not just on the phone. Also, John spoke of Jesus. Please, please, please be brave and speak about Jesus. Maybe someone ain't heard about him. That's all I gotta ask.
That doesn't cost you 1 cent, does it?
Nope. And you know what? John was worth more than all the rubies that's available. So we don't want no money. We want y'all to spread the love of Jesus Christ. Love each other as you love yourselves. This is why this is so wrong. Because they were in a position where they were professionally obligated to take care of him, but they should have had the morality, the heart, the humanity to love him as they loved themselves. And they didn't. It was a disregard of human life. And justice will be served. Vengeance is the Lord's, and he shall repay. And I also do want to say, I have heard negative things about people with threaten and other EMTs and stuff like that. This is not an agency issue. We support our first responders. We are all very outspokenly supportive of our first responders. I'm sorry. And John was not a violent man, and I will not stand for anybody using his name in vain for their violence. That's not him. That's not what this is about. This was a personal issue. This was a heart issue. This is evil versus good, and righteous will stand.
Preach it, girl.
It just is what it is, and that's what's so sad about this whole thing is if you have eyes, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear and a human beating heart, this is wrong.
Haley, I wasn't going to get into this with you, but you know me, right? I've got to say something, and maybe I swore I was going to keep my mouth shut when you and your mom are up here, but I can't. Let me tell you something, Haley. I don't care if you're a blind man driving that ambulance. You have a sighted person and a passenger that says, "Stop! Stop! What are you doing? Stop! Back up! Reverse!"
And I'm sorry, how are you scared in a 14,000-pound vehicle?
Correct.
Go to the right. Keep going.
Guys, chime in. Chime in if you have something. We're so blessed to have both of these women on here. So Steve, Rich, chime in. If you guys have any questions in the chat, now's the time. But I don't want to take a lot of Haley's time. But if you got a question, Steve or Rich, fire it away or comment.
No, I
Go ahead.
everything that she's saying is, spot on. So I was just going to let her preach the sermon for us.
Whew.
I was just going to say that I'm glad you're religious, and that's great to hear. Too bad it's great to hear people going to God now, over different instances, and that's what's helping you guys get to the next day and the next day and the next day is because your belief in Christ Jesus. So God
Yes,
bless you.
I tell you, that's a fact, and I tell you, we wouldn't have, even y'all wouldn't, if y'all weren't pricked in y'all's heart, y'all wouldn't have cared. It would have been swept under the rug if Bex wouldn't, if the multiple people who are now speaking up for righteousness weren't pricked in their hearts to speak up. This was all the Lord, because we are a small town in West Virginia, and the corruption's real. I mean, it's very obvious now. It's sad that this was trying to be framed as another stereotypical woohoo crazy man West
Crazy man
Virginia
with
story.
Yep.
Disregard the crazy man story. I hope everybody's safe. But really, you find out that the news is still saying that they just struck him down. They still ain't saying that they drug his body 2 miles down the road. This was an egregious act against a human being. I wouldn't do a dog this way.
Haley, we've talked about this, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do something tonight. I've said this a couple times. I've had 3 people to date that tell me that either A, the Kanawha County Sheriff himself has watched this, or B, people have recorded and he's watched the recording. Either way, it's my understanding he's been here twice or has seen the broadcast twice. Haley, if you could tell the sheriff, what would you tell the sheriff of Kanawha County?
I just pray. I pray that he prays on what he needs to do, because God will lead him to righteousness if he listens. He needs to just do the right thing. That's all I'm asking. Just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. You know it. You feel it. Everybody can see it. Just do the right thing.
Well, we are behind you. We're not going to stop. And Haley, I don't know if you heard earlier, but the community is a community. We have some smart folks in this community. I will not call this anything other than a crime.
Yes.
And if you do, I may lose some viewers on this. If you do, you're just stupid.
You gotta call it what it is. You gotta call it what it is. You've gotta call out the wrong.
I probably don't make some people mad because maybe not everyone agrees with that, but it's a crime. It's a crime. We watched a crime on that video.
Yep. Then Jamie, you dust your feet and you walk on, because that's all right. There are other people willing to hear.
That's right. Do us one promise. See that your family unplugs for a day and gets some rest and recharge. And we got this. There's a couple creators that we're not stopping. And please have and share the memories of your uncle and try to relax and rest one night, please, and get some sleep, because you're going to need it. We're going to need it. And it's going to be a lot of energy that we all need to have moving forward in this, no matter what happens.
Yes. Well, thank you guys again. Thank everybody, every single set of eyes on this tonight, and all the other nights and the future nights. Never let this dust settle. That's what they're counting on. They're counting on the dust to settle. So I appreciate y'all speaking up for righteousness. God bless each and every one of you. God bless each and every one of you guys watching. Thank you. Thank you. And I will. I got my family. I got them. I'm going to take good care of them. God's got us.
All right, guys. One more thing I want to ask you tonight. I want to see the green clovers. Remember, Haley told us that story of the green clover. Find the green clover the next 60 seconds, guys. If you can't find it, I don't care what it is. Let's put it down in the chat. Green clovers or hearts for the next 60 seconds. Let's go. That's the least we can do.
I love that. That's a thing. That is so sweet.
Come on, guys. Tap, 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 tap. Break the internet. Let's break TikTok with these green clovers. Break TikTok with the clovers.
I actually had a 4-leaf clover that I found, and I pressed it in my Bible. and I actually laid it with him yesterday.
Good.
So
Haley,
he finally got the one I picked for him.
and that was that touched everyone when you told that story. And now that we know where that clover is, it's right where it's supposed to be.
Thank you all so much, and God bless each and every one of you guys.
Good night. Much love to your family.
Good night, y'all. Bye.
I think we need to take a minute, guys. Whew. You know, guys, we talk about this a lot, that we talk about the news cycle. You guys, we've talked about it, right? You see these stories in the news, and you it's time for bed. You click that remote off, the TV goes off. You wake up, you click the remote, it's another TV show or news show with another story. It's the news cycle. It never stops. It continues 24 hours a day. And we've all three consistently have seen the families of violent crimes, and they're not in the news cycle. The news cycle leaves these families, but that loved one, family member, that cycle never stops. And then when you have a case such as John, Curtis, Lucas, Steve, and Rich, there is no justice that we've seen. There's no arrest. Imagine being that family with that cycle running 24 hours. We in the community and across the world are on to the next story. They can't go to the next story because they don't have justice nor closure. Steve Strickland, you guys take it away for a minute.
Yeah, and it doesn't make us feel good. It's not going to make the family feel good. I think what you're going to see with this is not only is this criminal process going to take a while, but I think the civil process is going to take a while too. Because I think what you're going to find is that this ambulance company is going to do its best to separate itself from these two individuals. And, they didn't follow procedure. So, and certainly, the ambulance company is going to get held responsible, but they're going to do their very best and try their very hardest to separate themselves. And so this is going to be a process. It is going to, like you're talking about with the cycle, this cycle is going to be quite long for them. And it's unfortunate that things don't move at our pace, but please understand that this process will work itself out, guys. I fully believe that. I mean, I don't think there's anything that you can look at in this and not go, hey, it's a crime. It is what it is. But just be patient with it. It doesn't make us feel good. It doesn't make them feel good. But in the long run, I think you're going to see arrests shortly. And then, understand that this civil process, they're going to get, like Jamie said, there's going to be a lot of zeros involved, but it's going to be a bit because the ambulance service is not going to want to be a part of it, and they're going to try to separate themselves. And so I don't think they're going to be able to, but eventually they're going to come out and say, and they're going to push, like we've seen in a lot of cases, with our agencies and in other places, they try to push the people, which is rightfully so. It's their fault, but just be patient with this process, because I know everybody is very emotional about this, and of course we are too. Especially having ties to the area, it makes it hits a little closer to home, and so just continue with your prayers, continue with your support, because that's what they need right now.
Leslie, we'll go to you in just a second. Hang on one more second. I want to give Rich the floor. Rich Brown, that ambulance service had a public meeting scheduled that was going to be on a Zoom call for the public to watch. Rich Brown, we were tuned in to the public meeting, and what happened?
What did I tell you was going to happen? I said it before the thing even took place, that somehow, some way, due to the fact that there is going to be a lot of zeros involved in this, they decide, this is my opinion, so I'm going to put that out there. It's my opinion. They decided probably that, well, it probably wouldn't behoove us to go out and talk about this publicly, because all you're doing, it's just the same thing that people or an attorney will tell you. Don't say anything more than yes or no. You're going to bury yourself. Same thing they told them. Don't go out there and say anything, because now we've got so many people from not only West Virginia, but every state in the United States watching this thing, and all over the world. So everybody was watching that. They looked at that, I guarantee you, and said, we're canceling. We're done. But just do the right thing again. If the sheriff, if you're on here tonight, do the right thing. Turn it over. That way you have nothing to worry about. So,
that's well said. Well said. Everybody in the community, Leslie's up. She's one of the originals, day one, as most of you guys in the chat are. But Leslie, it's yours. Take it away. You've earned that. You've waited for a little bit. I apologize. What's on your mind?
Fine. No worries.
What's on your mind? Put it down.
Okay, so first off, I want to again extend my condolences to the family. I've thought they've been on my mind like all week, especially yesterday and today. And I'm so glad that so many people showed up yesterday. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. And I was just dumbfounded when I heard about that. I prayed that for that to happen, for all those people to show up. So I saw in the chat that some people were asking why this isn't going national. I know it's not in Chicago. I haven't seen it on the news in Chicago. I don't know about the daytime news. I don't know about the Today Show or anything because I work during the day. So there were a couple of videos, and I'm making a suggestion. There were a couple of videos that Bex did and one or two that somebody else did. I started tagging. I follow the Today Show and them. I started tagging them in the comments. I don't know. Is that a good... I'm assuming that would be a good idea. Somebody's going to see it, right?
Yeah, I reached out today to the producers that I know over at Live Now Fox. One of the producers is very interested in it. They're going to probably cover something soon. And yeah, I mean, tagging these news agencies and these media agencies, yes, and yes. And more importantly, that video that was released, tag every news station in the world with that video. Just the video itself speaks volumes, Leslie. And you know, you're right on track as to what we all need to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, you know, there's so much crime, and especially, you know, I see it every day because I live in Chicago. I mean, I live outside of Chicago, but I see it every day. And it only gets worse in the summer, right? All these families who have gone through these horrific ordeals don't get enough attention. But what happened with John was absolutely just... I have no words. I don't have anything nice to say because I don't want to get kicked off of TikTok. You know what I'm saying? But, and I was also wondering, Bex was showing everybody yesterday and last night, where the building was and where everything was. Those girls were in that building. In my opinion, from my understanding, why did they leave the building? Why? Because if they would have stayed in the building, picked up their cell phone, dialed the local PD, John would still be with us today. And we wouldn't be even talking about it. This never would have happened.
Leslie, let me ask you a question. You and I, we've known each other for a long time. You've been instrumental in a lot of these cases we cover. have, out of all the crime cases that you've watched and been a part of and we dissected up and down, left and right, Leslie, have you ever seen anything so horrific and so
No.
criminal of
Mm-mm.
dragging a man to his death for over 2 miles?
I have never seen anything like that in my life. I've never seen anything like that.
And being out of Chicago, where are you at on an arrest? Are you surprised that they haven't put people in handcuffs and charged them with this crime?
With this case,
Yes.
I am surprised. I am surprised because I watched that news conference and I almost threw my phone because I was like, I'm sorry, what?
It was a shit show. As let me tell you, that's not my words. That's coming from attorney Scott Summers, who is the family
Oh yeah,
lawyer.
I heard it. Yeah.
And we just heard from John's sister Laura. We heard from John's niece Haley.
Right.
And these people are still being tormented and tortured by the system that's supposed to protect them.
Right. And in my opinion, you can't tell me those girls did not know who John was. He played basketball there every day. It's my understanding that was his favorite place to be. And I'm just assuming because he knew the paramedics were there in case anything happened. Maybe he was doing it for, in case he needed something, he was literally right there. Maybe that was his favorite spot. Maybe it didn't matter, right? But still, they were in that.
I've been at that Elkview Community Center. I know exactly. I got my hair cut when I was a kid at the corner at Railroad Avenue. I walked that Railroad Avenue when I was a kid. And let me tell you something. At night, it isn't pitch dark and black. It's lit by street lights.
It is because Beck showed it last night.
Here's the
They saw him.
You have 2 headlights on a commercial ambulance, for goodness sakes, that illuminated this man because they stopped twice before they ran him over.
Yeah, Beck showed it last night after the service last night. You could see him. You would have been able to see him. You would have been able to see, a squirrel run across the road.
Yeah.
It was just insane. And it just boggles my mind that you're in a secure building that it's really hard to get into. Why didn't you just pick up the phone?
Hey, I got a novel idea for you. How about just lock the door? Lock the door and then get on the phone.
Hey, that too. I mean, if the doors weren't locked, that's on them. But,
Yeah, I saw.
But it just boggles my mind. I'm with the family. I said, what is this nightmare that we're all watching? Because I've never seen anything like that. Anything.
Leslie, you know me. I speak the truth. We all have an opinion, but we all respect one another. But I'm telling you, I've been told by multiple people. The sheriff himself has seen this show, and I'm going to say it again. I appeal to you, the sheriff of Kanawha County, do the right thing, set the narrative right, get out and do a press conference, and stop allowing this man's name to be slandered worldwide.
Absolutely.
And you know what? If you have little kids in the room, close your ears. Sheriff, get off your ass, get an arrest warrant, and let's see some people in handcuffs.
Yep. Yeah, and people are still making nasty comments on Facebook. I have to stay off Facebook because, the Irish comes out in me, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? I could get just as mad as the family, and I don't even know this man.
Same.
I feel like I know him from all the stories, right? I don't play basketball. I'll play basketball. I would have played basketball with him. If I knew him, I would have picked him up, and if he was walking and he needed to go to the store, if I knew him, I would have did that.
Well,
that's how my parents raised me. So it's like
family wants to remember John Curtis Lucas, and I'll tell you, Leslie, you've been a part of this thing from day one. We're not stopping, are we?
Oh no, that's why I suggested maybe we should start tagging, News Nation. Let's tag ABC, NBC, CBS, all the morning shows, the nightly news. I mean, tag them all. you know, and let's scream it loud and proud because, you know, I mean, the family's got an army and the world behind them. And we're not going to stop until justice is served.
We have people from the UK tonight, Ireland,
Right.
all over the world watching this show. So,
Mhm.
Leslie, I'm going to bring some up. I didn't want to leave you hanging. And guys, I've got to give it a shout out. Leslie, like a bunch of you guys in the chat, the originals at the People's Crime Network, as we call it. And Leslie, once again, thank you for everything you do for the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
I salute you. You know, I started saluting people now.
All right, I'll drop down. I'll be in the comments.
Yes, ma'am.
Good night.
Someone, welcome in. Where are you watching from?
I think that's Scott, isn't it?
Oh, it is Scott. I couldn't see it. Scott Summers, are you on?
Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me now?
Scott, I'm sorry I didn't see you because you're the last guy that I would have left hanging. You know, we don't give tickets to nurses and we don't leave defense lawyers waiting in the waiting room. Welcome, Scott Summers. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you guys tonight?
Doing well.
Let me see if I can figure this out. Maybe. Let's see. There we go. I got the camera turned on. So I heard what Steve was saying earlier about the process, and it takes some time, and you know it's just the nature of the beast. And I think another way to think about that is the longer this takes, the longer John's name stays out in the public view. So, you know, everybody would like to rush to judgment, and everybody would like an immediate result, but no one wants John's name to be forgotten. So let's embrace the process for what it is and understand that that'll just keep John's name out there longer.
But listen, you know, and for you guys that are just joining, joined by Scott Summers, he is the family lawyer in this case. And let me tell you something. I've done my research on Scott, and I wouldn't want him after me.
I appreciate that.
But Scott, let me ask you a question. You've been involved in these cases for years. You've battled them out in court. You've got relationships all over the community, in the county, in the city. Scott, would it not help if someone in leadership, and I'm talking from the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department, the prosecutor's office, someone in that authority to come out and say, wait a minute, we're going to retract what we had originally said and at least clear this up to where John Curtis Lucas doesn't look like the wild, crazy guy with the knife and a trench coat. I mean, it's incumbent of them to set the record straight so we don't see his name slandered. Where are you at with that, Scott?
So, you know, one of my biggest criticisms is because, you know, I know that it's a process and it takes a while, but one of my biggest criticisms is that the narrative wasn't corrected any sooner. And it could have been corrected probably within, you know, by 10 o'clock that morning. And instead, it took us to correct the narrative. And it wasn't until the family authorized release of that video that then we get a press conference that says, well, the evidence may not support the initial narrative. And, you know, I've said many, many times, had that have happened earlier, we probably wouldn't be seeing the firestorm that we're seeing right now. And, you know, you can't unring the bell. We are where we are.
I mean, you know, the three of us, I mean, we have now probably 100, I don't want to age you, Scott, but we have a lot of experience, the three of us, right?
I'm 61.
I mean, for goodness sakes, we've all seen these cases, and you know, I understand you have due process. I got it. That's part of the investigation. But I myself personally have effected the arrest before the whole investigation is done, once I establish probable cause. And Steve made a good point. Once you put handcuffs on that person and you write that charging affidavit, the clock starts clicking for speedy trial. We got that. But come on, you've got to do the right thing. They're not going to take this thing to trial the next 30 days. Come on.
Right. Well,
Let's see an arrest.
like I said the other day, with the caveat that I've been practicing law a very long time and have managed, thankfully, to stay out of criminal court. So I'm certainly far from any criminal law expert. But what I believe is happening is I think the evidence that we have right now is certainly enough to support some sort of murder related charge. The question is what level, and they don't want to undercharge because in West Virginia, voluntary manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter is a misdemeanor, punishable up to 1 year in jail, as opposed to felony. That's a different story. And this is pure speculation on my part, but I'm guessing that the prosecutors aren't going to make that decision and issue the warrants until they're certain that they can prove their case. Now, all of us sitting looking at what we know, it seems pretty obvious. Like we talked the other day, the ambulance came to a almost stop, rolled forward a little bit further, came to another almost stop, and then clearly accelerated. As you all know, in law enforcement, you can form intent in a few seconds, but
That's
prosecutor has to prove their case.
But that's my point. You just made the case.
I know.
I think
I know.
you need to run for the county prosecutor job because you just made the case.
Yeah, no thanks.
Steve is a stickler for policy and procedure. Steve, I'm going to go to you. If you're investigating this, you have the death. You ran over the man. That's clear. Isn't it aggravated circumstances for dragging a person for 2 miles? Does that not enhance, or should it not enhance, that felony charge of manslaughter or first degree manslaughter?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, I mean, all accident theory or you claiming it was an accident went out the door when they accelerated and drove for 2 miles. So
but dragging his body, that
is aggravating circumstance. Yeah,
it's an aggravating circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know West Virginia law, but there, certainly, aggravated circumstances would enhance penalties. I think, and here's my opinion on why the sheriff. This is my opinion on why the sheriff has not corrected the narrative or the state. I feel, to me, like they think that they're admitting some sort of, I don't know, fault on their part by not correcting the statement. If they come out and say, yeah, we were wrong, then they feel like they're, but what they've done is the complete opposite. They've given us more ammunition to say, yeah, it's a cover-up. When if they feel like if they say, yeah, we were wrong, it doesn't fit the narrative anymore, they act like they're culpable for something, which they're not. It's the sheriff's office. We find out that we're wrong all the time, and then we turn around and the investigation goes a different way. So there's no reason for them to feel. And again, just my opinion. This is what I think that their mental process is. I could be completely wrong, but they've just done the complete opposite. And so at this point, by not changing the narrative, all they've done is fueled the fire on the opposite end of that. And yeah, now it's where the chips will fall where they may, because, like we've been talking constantly all night, you fix this by calling the West Virginia State Police and handing this over. And we do it here. I mean, if a deputy is involved here in the state of Florida, we immediately call the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. You're investigating this. We will do our side by side with you, but this is yours to go with. And so, yeah, but yeah, back to your point. Yes, aggravating circumstances. I would believe that they would enhance penalties, and there's got to be something with that. Especially because they're being told over the radio, stop, and they're not.
I don't know, Scott. Maybe. I mean, we don't have that plaque on the wall, but our spidey senses says there's trouble in Elk River with this whole investigation. I'm concerned.
And I certainly understand that, and we are trying obviously to do our own investigation, and just today discovered another video that will soon be released, I think, that establishes a little bit more in the timeline with one of the stops in particular. And what we have discovered from this video when they stopped, and I believe based on the timestamps comparing to the dispatch calls, it was after they reported they heard screaming under the ambulance. They sat idle for a little over 1 minute and then took off again.
Rich Brown, that's a lot of time to concoct a story.
It is, and I'm speechless over that one. I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that? Like I said, I almost rolled a Suburban trying not to hit a deer. I would really love to have a better visual, a better picture of how much room, because it looked like a lot from the video I saw. Like it would have just been so easy to turn the wheel to the right or the left and just go around him and gun it. Do whatever you want to do. Florida. I still, the visual from looking at the video, how can you argue that they couldn't have done that?
So one other thing, I'm not at liberty at this point to discuss a lot, but obviously I've spent a lot of time over the last week or so uncovering facts and digging, me and my team, and hopefully by mid next week we'll be able to talk about some more facts that maybe clear things up a little bit more. One of the things I can confirm is that the dash cam does in fact exist and it has in fact been preserved.
Can you speak? You probably can't, but I'm going to ask you. Can you speak on any audio or potential audio files that may be contained within that dash cam?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I had to ask.
I understand. Like I say, I'm hopeful that perhaps mid next week, in conjunction and consultation with the family, we can maybe release some information.
You know, I did you hear your client? Laura was on, and Haley was.
I did, and I almost didn't want to come on because how do you follow that? I mean, Laura is, and Haley. I mean, the whole family are just incredibly strong, And I don't know if everybody has seen this or not, but if you haven't, I encourage you to find it and watch it. David Lucas has been a friend of mine for 30 years, John's father. And I've always known him to be just a one of a kind man. And his parents, John's grandparents, were just unparalleled for anyone that I've ever met in my entire life. And David Lucas, when speaking at John's funeral, spoke so eloquently, and it was very difficult, but also very pleasurable to listen to. If those two things can exist in the same space, David Lucas did it, and it was amazing. And I told him, I don't know how he kept it together. I couldn't keep it together watching it. And it was such a moving and appropriate and kind and loving and godly tribute that it was just incredible. And I encourage, if you haven't seen it, find it. I know that Bex had commented that he was going to upload it to YouTube. I don't know if it had happened or not, but the whole service was just amazing. But that was incredible. And I'm sure you all know, but there are over 1,700 people there. And, that speaks volumes to John, to the family, to the support of the community. I've heard people tell me, well, ironically enough, I do some mediations too, and I was mediating a case this week, and one of the participants wanted to talk to me about this incident. And I said, well, before you say anything, just know that I represent the family. And they said, that's why I want to speak to you. And this was a person who lives in, the nicer area of Charleston. I would say pretty well off. And she was moved by this. And it is incredible the amount of people who want to be heard, and they want to be heard in favor of John. And it's from all walks of life. The video I got today, like I said, the lady reached out to me because I heard my kid speaking earlier. Mike and I are friends. We go way, way back. Went to high school together. He's a great guy. But I heard him talking about preservation of evidence letters and that kind of stuff. And of course, I had sent all those out. And I get a call today, and the person on the other end said they felt compelled to reach out to me with this response to my letter, and I was the first person that had asked for it, and I was kind of shocked by that. But I will be turning that over to the prosecutor and the sheriff's department, because back to Steve's point and the point I was trying to make earlier, we need to give them whatever it is they need to be able to prove the mens rea, or the deliberate intent, the intent to kill. And the more information we give them, the more confident that the prosecutor's office will feel in bringing those kinds of charges.
Let's just pray that happens. And, I'm sure your PI is working long hours. And, Scott, that's something we don't hear a lot. Those investigators are working in the private sector. I mean, they're out there digging up clues, and we could only imagine. Matter of fact, we had a friend of yours on tonight.
Yeah,
Michael Kidd.
I heard him.
I wanted to bring Michael on. He's a local guy, credentialed, and just kind of walk through the process. And there's a lot of work to be done.
There is. And Mike's a great guy. Like I said, I've known him since high school. I lived right beside of his parents for a long time.
Yep.
And we go way back, and, he knows what he's talking about. And my investigator, I got and Mike, I've used Mike too. I don't want you to think that I haven't, because he's a good guy. But I got the call early that morning, and the next call I made was to my investigator, and he was out in Elkview within hours.
Yep.
And so we were able to get boots on the ground pretty quickly, because I was afraid about destruction of evidence, frankly. And I wanted him to be able to talk to people. And him speaking to people, I think, resulted in us being able to obtain that original video that changed the narrative.
Yeah, I totally concur with that. I mean, here's real quick, where would we be today had that video been destroyed and not ever produced? I don't know where we would be, Scott. I mean, that video, in my opinion, certainly the prosecutor's opinion, changed the tide. I mean, good night. I couldn't imagine working a case and that video not come surface like that. I mean, that pretty much saved John Lucas's case, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree 100%. Now, it didn't do it alone, because we should never forget the community that has been standing behind John and his family. I mean, it is, West Virginia. I mean, we're just good folk and supportive of each other. And you get these communities like Elkview, and their voice alone would have eventually changed the narrative. You just can't ignore that kind of power. But that video did it probably much, much quicker.
And Scott, just for the community, I've got a couple of anonymous emails today. They weren't so pleasant, but just you're the family person, you're the family spokesman, you're the lawyer, you're the counselor.
Well, I want to say this real quick first. Laura is clearly a much better spokesperson than I am.
That scares me.
Yeah, she is fantastic. But anyway, I didn't want to interrupt you there.
Just if you can just speak. I mean, we're not anti-police, we're not anti-first responders, and if you could just touch on that if you're engaging in that bantering and backwards, just maybe stop and we all have an opinion, but we just don't be a part of that. And I think it would be a lot coming from you if you could just cover that just for a minute.
Well, and I agree. I've heard stories, and not pleasant stories. And I spoke with David about it, and I actually put out a statement from my firm Facebook page, and it basically I asked people if they wanted to make donations. The Lucas family appreciated wanting to give them help they could give them, but the Lucas family wanted any donations to go to the Elk River Community Center in John's name. That's the place he loved. And then I also wanted to, maybe try to tone down the rhetoric a little bit. And it is okay to protest. It's okay to get loud. It's okay to ask the hard questions. It's okay to demand things. But it's never okay to threaten somebody or to besmirch an entire profession. And one of the things that I said in my statement was, these EMS workers, law enforcement, any other first responders, I mean, they're really the backbone of our communities. I mean, we need them, and we rely on them during the worst times of our lives. And you don't discredit an entire profession just because two people made a horrendous act that resulted in the death of a wonderful human being. I try to follow what's going on Facebook and how people are commenting. And I saw one post today where a lady whose daughter is apparently an EMS worker and showed up to help somebody and was given a hard time. It's not that. And I tell people all the time in a joking manner, lawyers and used car salesmen are at the bottom of the heap. I mean, nobody likes us. But it's because there's a few of them out there that just give us all a bad name. And, I jokingly say some of the best compliments I can get is, it's hard to believe you're a lawyer. And the second best is, I can't believe you were ever a Marine, because I'm just, I say sometimes the inner Marine in me comes out and there's nothing I can do about that. And, I can fight with the best of them. But I always find that a calm, cool head prevails in the end. But it's not fair. It's probably unjust to paint a entire profession negatively because of the actions of a couple. And honestly, I think, and I've talked to Mr. Lucas about it, and he thinks the same way. It's really not the right way to honor John's memory. John wouldn't want that, I don't think. I think it dilutes our message. And, it's something we see almost daily on the news. There is a just cause, and people are fighting and fighting loud for it, like what's happening here in Elkview. And then somebody goes and does something stupid, and it diminishes the hard work of all those people that are out there with protest signs in front of the prosecutor's office, and they're peacefully protesting and they're trying to make their voices heard. And that's what our government and our rights allow us to do. And that is the way to do it. It is not the way to do it to threaten people, because that just ruins the entire, and I don't know what else to call it other than a movement, because this is clearly a movement to support John Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I just, I had a few people as we started covering this case that came in and says, "Oh, all cops are corrupt, all firemen are," and I'm like, no. So I wanted you to touch on that. And Rich, I saw you and Steve. You look like little dogs in the back window of the car. You guys are green. So I mean, we respect and we need, and if you have an accident, I'm going to call Scott Summers. But if I have an emergency and somebody needs help, I'm calling that EMT, EMS, fire service to come and help me, because they always show up, Scott.
That's right. And these folks do this job, the overwhelming majority of it. And you all too, as former law enforcement, you're horribly underpaid, you're horribly mistreated, and all you want to do is serve your community. And to be treated poorly on top of that is just, it's inexcusable. And I think the Lucas family is a prime example of grace in the heart of despair. If anybody had a right to be angry at an entire population, it would be the Lucas family. But you all have heard them. I have heard them. I think I heard Haley tonight say it. We support these first responders. We support EMS. We don't support what happened by the hands of a couple of them that made just unimaginable decisions that night.
No, it's I'm so grateful you came back on. Steve, Rich, I don't know if Scott can answer, but do you have any questions while we got him? Because let's get him while he's here. He's one of the best.
Well, and I try to watch every night, or most nights, but I'm again, I hate to besmirch my own profession, but I am not like most lawyers. I don't want my name to be out there forefront. When we went to the news, I specifically told them I don't want my name attached to any of this. This is about John Lucas and the Lucas family. That's it. And when other news people were contacting me, they were giving me a hard time. They said, we figured we'd find out who the lawyer was by the broadcast, and we couldn't find that out. And I said, that was intentional, because this isn't about me. This is about John Lucas and the Lucas family, and some way to help them in their suffering.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Whoever wrote class act, this guy is a class act. Steve, Rich,
Yeah.
we don't need a lot of attorneys with that integrity and class act.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, to comment on what Scott was just saying, that's why, as far as I'm concerned, that's why I've enjoyed having you and the family members on here, because it helps us to show the personal side of it, and it helps us to show our feelings about who it's really about. We can get on here and do this and not have anybody on here, and it's just a bunch of bobbing heads talking a bunch of stuff. But to have you folks on here, it really, I think it gives our followers the perspective, Jamie's followers the perspective, and the opportunity to just really understand the family. And you have helped us do that as well. So I just want to say thank you for being here and for representing them the way you have.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I say, I watch and, I pay attention to your broadcast, but I hesitate to participate because, again, it's not about me. This is about the family. And I wanted to step on tonight and just kind of reiterate, what Steve said about this is a process, and a lot of times people tend to look at the negative, and despite the world we live in, I try to be a glass half full kind of guy. And while I too am very frustrated, I would very much like to tell the Lucas family, these people are in chains, but I know that we want it to wait. And the good thing about it is, the longer it takes, the longer John's name stays out there. And I heard you, Jamie, talking about the news cycle. And, there's a method behind the madness of how information is released. We release some stuff and then it hits the news hard and then you don't hear anything. We'll release something else and then I imagine it'll hit the news hard again. And then, we'll just kind of dole it out a little bit at a time just to keep them interested and keep them talking about John. And maybe eventually, somebody national will pick this up and John will become something that he never thought he would become, and that is his name will be nationally known.
Rich, every
Worldwide
time the
right
attorney
now.
comes on, he gives me calm, and that's Scott and Rich. Please chime in, and we'll let Scott go with his time because I know he's valuable. But I love, and Steve summarized it. When you come on here, Scott, you give the community hope. You give the community confidence that the family is being taken care of legally. And Rich, class act. I mean, he does all the above. He checks the boxes for everything, to include he calms us down.
Just getting ready to say that because I was kind of angry earlier.
It's like
I was getting a little aggressive, but you actually calmed me down, and so did the family. The family did too,
yes.
because their calmness kind of rubbed off on me a little bit because I was just getting a little angry about them not turning it over to the state police, and it just make you feel a lot better inside knowing that somebody else was investigating the thing instead of
Right.
people that could possibly be more financially liable.
Well, one more thing I want to say about that, and I appreciate Rich you bringing that up to remind me. Everything that I know to today leads me to believe, and I have the same question. I spoke to somebody today and I asked that question. Ultimately, you're going to have to explain why it is that the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department is investigating this instead of the West Virginia State Police. And I think I said the first time I was on here, I have faith in Joey Crawford. He's an honorable guy. I have faith in Deb Rusnick. Both of them have jobs that you could never pay me enough money to do. But as an attorney, I am always skeptical. It's the old trust but verify. The stuff that I have learned in the last few days leads me to believe that I can have faith in what has been done up to this point. I think I don't want to say I can't heavily criticize what has been done that I am aware of. Let's put it that way. Because one of my overwhelming concerns was if there was a dash cam, we would never see it. And I can believe, and I hope to have some verification of this, that the footage exists, it has been preserved, and it will shed light on a lot of things.
I mean, that's reassuring. And, we see a lot of comments in the chat. Scott, the chat actually got quiet when you got in here. They're calm. You may not be in the right profession. You may want to change.
Well,
But,
people tell me that that's why I'm also a good mediator, because I have a
yes.
calming effect.
Guys, in the chat, this, it gives me confidence, and it should give the community of Elk River, Kanawha County confidence. This family's they're protected. And Scott, I can't thank you, Steve and Rich. What a true blessing and a treat to have Scott to come on, because he's the class act. What more can you say? That's a hard. I think we'll just shut the show down when Scott leaves and say good night.
Well,
He should be a therapist as well.
yeah. Well,
He's going to bill
I
for
am.
therapy.
Well, they do say attorneys and counselors at law. I think sometimes I use the counselor part a lot, but um, I enjoy coming on. I enjoy chatting with you all, and I wish that I could, speak more to specifics, but I just can't. You all understand that. Um, I'm hoping that, maybe next week after some additional facts come out, I can come back on if you'll have me, and we can chat a little bit more.
At this point, I'll give you the passwords and all my signing credentials for everything. You just plug in and go live. No, Scott.
Somebody in the audience says you have Paul Harvey voice. It's the Paul Harvey voice.
There you
Paul
go.
Harvey.
There you go. Well, it's funny.
Good day.
As part of my, let me say this. Hopefully next week we will hear the rest of the story.
That's what we're waiting on, Paul. Hey, man, brother from another mother to all of us. Thank you. And golly, man, we appreciate your time, and we're here for you. You're welcome anytime you want to step in. It's your show.
Well, thank you. And I finally just want to say thank you all for the support of the family. That means the world to me. And I just can't find words to express how just fantastic this family is. And if they do not deserve the heart-wrenching tragedy that they have suffered, and if there was any way in my power to erase everything that's happened, I would do it in a heartbeat, because these people are so undeserving of this. And it breaks my heart.
Yeah, as it does all of us. And I'm sure we have people from the UK, Scotland, Ireland, Canada. They're all over the world watching this thing, and they're vested in the case. So, hey, man, you're always welcome. Just say, hey, I want on. I don't know how, but I'm going to learn to put you in the big box the next time. I'm going to Google.
Oh no, you don't. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be. I have a face for radio, so.
Thank you, my brother, and God bless you. You're doing some amazing work up there, and we can't wait to hear from you again.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
Good night.
See ya.
Bye, guys. I saw that. I don't know who wrote class act in the chat, but you couldn't have. That was it. Class act.
Yep.
And here's something else, guys. A lot we see this stuff play out. And Scott Summers just covered it. A lot of lawyers don't have a good name. They you hear a lawyer like, okay, what's going on behind the doors, and they're doing. Let me tell you, this should reassure everyone that's watching this. You have bad cops, you have bad doctors, you have bad everything in society, to include lawyers. That's a prime example. There's some really good lawyers that exist that are helping people every day. Every day.
Yep.
All right, guys. I want to see if we can get a couple. I know there's a few people waiting, and I'm so sorry for the delay. Please forgive me. I'm going to bring two more people up. We're going to, if you can, just keep your comments as fast as we can.
How you doing?
Get everybody in. Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. I was wanting to say something on here real quick. I was looking up the West Virginia codes for the emergency vehicles, and it says West Virginia Code 17C25 Emergency vehicles can run lights, go through stop signs, exceed speed limits, but they are not relieved from the duty to drive with due regard for the safety of all persons. I mean, that clearly, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I know he said it's going to take time, but I think that's why everybody is so mad, because it is people who are supposed to help us. And I strongly believe that John just wanted help. And I strongly believe that he asked them, I can't say for sure, but I think he asked them before they went into the EMT office, and just something in my gut's just telling me that it's just not, that they knew John. I don't know how they couldn't have known him. And Laura is such a strong woman. I mean, her and her dad. I went to school with John all the way through school. He was a great guy. I mean, I just wanted to get on here and just say that, because everybody's been asking about the laws and all that. And I just wanted to read that to everybody, because it wasn't an accident. If you say it's an accident, something's wrong with you. I mean, clearly everybody sees that. If you got eyes, like you said, if you got eyes, you know that that's not an accident. But I just wanted to get on here and thank everybody for everything they've done. And everybody just keep it up and keep Laura and her dad in your prayers, and all the family. And Jamie and Steve and Richard, I just thank all of you all. It's Elkview is like the smallest town in West Virginia almost, and we got really big hearts. That's all I can say.
One of the best towns.
I'm telling you. Born and raised, buddy. I moved away and wanted to come back.
By the way, we know your nickname now.
What's that?
Stewie.
How you know that?
It was in the chat.
Yeah,
Somebody said, "Tell him, Stewie."
Yeah, that's me. That's me. Well, that's not my government. We ain't gonna get my government out, but that's me. Yeah, but I just I work around a lot of people downtown, and this whole state is pretty. If you ain't got money, you're not important, and it's sad. The job that I do, I deal with. I'm not a police officer, but I write parking tickets, so I get a lot of the crap too. And I just try to treat people like I would want to be treated every day. And I think that's why me and John was so much alike. We have so many friends, because if you treat people how you want to be treated, you can't throw gasoline on a fire and expect it not to burn. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be nice to people. You got to treat them with respect. And that's what John did always. Never was there a bad thing that he would say about anybody. I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to come on here and tell you all thanks so much. I mean, it's really, I'm so amazed how it's got out of the United States and everything. That's big, and you all just keep doing your jobs, and we'll really appreciate it. And I keep you all in your prayers too.
Well, we're not going to stop, Stu, and thank you for what you do. You
No
get a
problem.
lot of flack sometimes.
A lot, yeah. I don't care. It don't bother me.
Steve, we got to get Stewie on here. I got to tell my parking ticket story one day. It was bad. It
I was
caused a
curious because she said she works in downtown. I was wondering if she worked in downtown Elkview.
No. No, I grew up in Oakview. I wish I could go back, but not really anyway. There's too many corrupt people up there, so I mean, it's changed from when I was there.
I have one favor to ask Stewie before we drop you down and go to Monty. Can you do me a favor?
I sure can.
Can you put that statute or those statutes, just screenshot them? Can you tag me on that post on TikTok?
I sure can. Yes,
Please?
I sure can.
And
Yep.
then one more question. Are you in our Telegram chat?
I do not think so.
You need to be.
All right, got you.
There's some good stuff in that Telegram chat. But thank you, Stewie. I appreciate you.
No problem. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate it.
That's a new thing. Got to salute the guests. Thank you,
That's
Stewie.
right. Salute.
Bye, dear. Monty, my friend, how are you?
I am good, sir. How are you?
We are chumming along, buddy. And
I just have one thing to say, and it's no disrespect to Mr. Scott, the attorney, but he needs to release some fried chicken to all of us. He looks like Colonel Sanders.
I didn't even, you know what? He did have that little goatee going.
If
I
his
like it.
if his hair would just been a little whiter, he would have looked just like Colonel Sanders.
Hey, Monty, he's a tough guy, but you know what?
Yeah, he is.
What's your takeaway from what he said? Doesn't that give you 100% confidence?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He's in it for the long run, and he wants to see justice for John Lucas's family.
You know, we're all, most of us here can hear good, and if you listen in between the lines, Monty, he's allowing the system to work. But guess what? If that system starts failing this family, I'm reading in between the lines. I think that's what we're
Hey,
going to see.
what they need to do is they need to push the pedal down and keep the gas going, because if you stop, there ain't gonna nothing be done. But if you keep it down, you'll get everything done.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's 100% true.
But I just wanted to bring a little joking into the chat a little bit and up here, because that's the first thing when he popped on his camera. That's the first thing that popped into my head. It's Colonel Sanders.
I mean, I don't know if Scott's still in here or not. Hey, but while you're here, Monty, say it every time you come up. Monty is one of the old school guys. Steve, he's been here since day one, and I truly believe the community owes, and a lot of Monty's in there. There's a lot of old school people in this chat, but I got to say it every time. Monty has been one of the best listeners, and he's got some good wisdom. And I truly believe if it wasn't for Monty and a few other people in here, we would have quit a couple, 3 or 4 weeks ago, a month or two ago. And Monty's like, no, keep going, keep going, keep going. You'll find your rhythm. But I've got to give credit where credit's due. And Monty, I'll thank you every time I see you. Thank you for being there and believing in what we're trying to do here.
And well, it's just not me. You're the one. You're the one that pushes that button and turns us on for us and everything. We're just here to watch and to help you in any way, shape, or form that we can. I didn't want to see anything to happen to your page, and that's the reason why I kept pushing you. So, if everybody didn't know, I was the one behind the scenes pushing Jamie to keep his page on, and if he'd done it again, I'd still be behind the scenes telling Jamie to keep his page on, because I enjoy coming in here. I enjoy seeing this stuff. It's amazing stuff. And y'all, all three of y'all are very intelligent on what y'all speak about. And that's all we want. It's facts. We don't want lies or anything. I don't come into this chat to fight, argue with anybody. I come in this chat to learn and listen. And that's what I've been doing. I've been learning and I've been listening. And if you had walked away from this page, we wouldn't have this chat to come into to learn and listen. And I'm really appreciative of you.
Well, I'm more appreciative of you than you'll ever know, my friend. And thank you. Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Monty, have a good weekend. We'll be back probably tomorrow night. Well, we will be back tomorrow night. So
Well,
if you're not
I'll
busy,
be here. As long as you're
Hey,
on,
real
I'm
quick.
here.
Hey, Monty, I'm hearing rumors, and guys in the chat, listen to this, Steve Strickland, because you're going to be part of this. Rich Brown, I think, is taking a break. Monty, I'm hearing. You ready for this? I'm hearing there's going to be another live marathon that's in the plans it's going to be happening soon. And the last time we did like a 12 or 14 hour straight live marathon. Get ready, it's coming back.
Yeah, I have a story for that marathon, so
Yes.
I will bring my story back.
Yes. So everybody in the chat, I don't know what date. We'll release it soon, but we're going to have we're going to do at least, Monty, 10 hours.
Hey, 10
hours.
hours? 10 hours is a good one.
Yeah. So
We
we'll bring some of you guys
didn't
up.
make it all the way to 12 hours the last one, but you
got to
got
hear your
right
story.
close.
These people have got to hear the story that Monty has, and we'll bring a lot of Monty's on that's going to share some testimony and some stories. And Monty, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
Good night, and I salute you.
I salute you.
Bye.
And Scott was still here about the Colonel Sanders remark. He said he wishes that was the first time he'd heard it. So,
Monty, did you hear that?
Common. Apparently, it's common.
Hey, good afternoon or good evening. How are you?
Me?
Yes, ma'am. You're up live.
Okay.
Where are you watching from?
Elkview.
Elkview. Welcome.
Yes. So I just wanted to bring up the fact that before it was released on the news, that awful news release that we got to see where they just talked about everybody being negative. Before that, there was not really anybody talking about the community being negative towards the EMS or the EMTs. There was a little, but then that got released, and I'm just looking from the outside in. I did not know John personally. My husband did. My kids and I have seen John, never once felt intimidated by him. Actually, always just said hi. He always just never even acknowledged me, to be honest, mind his own business, never bothered me. So I didn't know him personally, but my husband did. I'm not from Elkview, I'm from Roane County. But after that news media was released, about everybody being negative, is when I noticed everybody start saying that the community needs to stop being negative or stop making comments about the EMTs, or if they're coming to help, don't ask them questions and don't put them down. And I understand that, and I completely agree. And I'm not saying that it isn't happening, because I mean, that would just pretty much saying that I'm not aware to the world. But I do feel that now that it has been said on the news, that's all we hear about the community, rather than, aside from your TikTok live, rather than the community still being there to bring awareness about John. That is not getting the light that it should still be getting. Now it's just Elkview being negative and being more like downplaying the EMS workers and their jobs. And that's not, I don't feel like at all what the community is doing or has done. And not just Elkview, even other people that are aware of it. I mean, I feel like we've all come together and we're all at an understanding in the community that we know the people that did it. We know who's at fault. I don't think that the rest of us are out here just blaming every single worker. Like, we're not, does that make sense? Like, I don't feel like the community that are out there are getting the recognition. The ones going to the courthouse, it just looks like they're not getting the recognition anymore.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny you say that. I like to say, let's put our common sense. I've got to get the common sense hat for the community. Let's flush that out for a minute. We've seen these, and I don't want to bring the politics into this, but we've seen these crazy protests that turns violent. We've seen that play out for years, right? In the news. Unfortunately, and I got what you're putting down, and I can't agree more with you, because we've not seen that in this community, right? But unfortunately, you're going to have some bad apples, and Scott covered this, and anything
Right.
we do. And, a couple of bad people may try to tarnish what the good people are trying to do. But like you just said, the community's 100% together. They're rallying together, and they're not going to let one or two bad apples stop what they're doing or tarnish that mission or agenda, right?
Right.
What I would like to do, and maybe if you guys in the chat, if you know anyone that's personally, and I know a few on Facebook, if you have been a part of holding signs for John Curtis Lucas, I think I'd like to bring you up maybe tomorrow night if you're available, and acknowledge your civil rights of going out and peacefully protesting. And what do you think? Can we? I think it's a good idea. Let's give these people some credit. Let's see them. Let's acknowledge them. If you're comfortable coming up on the panel, I want to hear from them. What do you think?
I think that's great. If you're asking me my personal
Yes.
opinion, that's great, because it just seems like there's still so many people doing a lot of work. And and I will say this too, a lot of people that are saying they're hearing or getting the rude remarks, which I know some people must be, and I hate that personally. Like, I don't like that for anybody. But from the outside looking in, I'm just saying, like, I've been very silent because I'm not familiar with a lot of people in the community. I say to myself, I have lupus, so I don't go out and do a lot of the public stuff because I'm autoimmune. But I do share all this stuff, and I'm from the outside looking in. The same people that were defending the EMTs are the same people now complaining that the community are being aggressive towards the EMS workers and the EMTs and the first responders. They're the same ones. And I feel like it was released in the media and now that's getting used because I know people are doing it, but we can't let and allow the ones that were trying to defend the people who were wrong to take that, grasp it, and use it as their way to bring us down. Or not even me, because I'm not speaking on my behalf. I'm speaking for the ones who are out there doing the work, because I am not doing the work. But for those ones out there doing the work, I don't want them to be beat down by people grasping at these. And I think that what you're doing, and Steve, hi Steve, my dad's name's Steve. I have to tell you, one time I had a surgery and I was coming out of anesthesia and I told him that Steve was a really stupid name. So I'm really sorry that that's my opinion about the name Steve. I mean, I don't believe it, but in that moment I did. Anyways, I just don't want people to do that. And I appreciate what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I don't want those out there working hard or his family to just feel defeated. And he has a strong family. You can tell that, you can see that. I don't want anybody to feel defeated when they're out there every day trying.
Well, let's do this. So, community, we're speaking to you. If you have been a part of that rally, that protest, let me know in a direct message or however you guys want to do it. And then get ready tomorrow night. I would like to bring some of you folks, if not all of you, up to acknowledge you and give you the credit where credit's due. Because let me tell you something, I'm not in front of the prosecutor's office. I'm in Cocoa Beach. I'm not up there holding a sign. So that they're making a difference. They're keeping John Curtis Lucas' name out there.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm glad you came on and shared that.
Thank you. That's all I had to say. I don't want to talk anymore.
Listen, I got this new thing now for this. I'm saluting you.
I'll salute you back.
And Jamie thinks my name is stupid too. That's why he calls me Strickland all the time.
I'm so sorry. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. You guys are like, you and Rich are like, I don't know, man.
Two peas in the pod.
Always the victim. Always the victim. I haven't muted you intentionally, maybe once or twice.
I mean, I like to play the victim every once in a while. I'll see what it feels like.
This next guy's not a victim. Hey, Brian, how are you?
How you doing there, Jamie, Steve, and Richard?
I think Rich is sleeping. I think he took a nap.
He might have. I earlier when I was listening to Haley, her voice just kind of shook me up a little bit. Just the way she was putting everything out there, and she a lot of emotion, a lot of abundance of love that I felt from that woman, from everything that's happened to their family. And I really, this whole thing has really got a lot of people upset, and it's totally put people in a shocking state. I mean, there is a lot of love out there, just people need to show it more. And I know a lot of people do or try to. I personally, as I've gotten older, I'm 67 now, and I feel a lot more better about life and the way things have come about in my lifetime more later in life than I did in the earlier part of my life. But she was just she got me thinking. She really did. I know that the whole family's shocked about what happened, and ever since I've been picking up on this and listened to what's been going on, this guy, I feel like I really know him. I really do. He's in a lot of people's hearts, and but I just hope this wakes a lot of people up, and they realize that life is short, and we need to take the time for one another, and just let love, you know, take its toll. That's really all I wanted to say. Really, was that, and I guess if we wake up every morning and it's a good life, and I guess we'll ride at dawn,
Hey
as
man,
Jamie says.
we may get that bus riding here soon on one of these cases, and once you guys solve some cases. Now, Brian and Steve, I like what Brian's putting down. I mean, I was told this by a very old person one time. You can't always judge that person when they come through the door. You don't read a book by its cover, right? So,
That's right.
this man, John Curtis Lucas, he was described as a family as a nomad. He lived his life the way John wanted to live, and eccentric.
Yes.
He may not live like I lived, or Brian lived, or Steve lived, but he lived the life the way John wanted to live. And you had a good point. Compassion would come to mind, Brian.
That's probably one of the
Kindness.
words I was trying to look for there.
Yeah,
We do need to have
kindness.
a lot of compassion for one another.
Now,
And
brother, you always you put it down. That's why we we bring you up when you're here, because you've always got some calming words.
well, I I mean what I say. It comes straight from my heart, because I've found out in life that it is short, and we've got to make the best of it.
That's right.
But
Well, brother, you're
I'm
part of
going
the
to.
family. We appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I guess Julie's up next, and I salute you. Even though you can't see me, but I salute you.
All right, my brother. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
All right. You take care, Jamie, Steve, Richard, and Julie.
We think Rich went to sleep.
Yeah.
If he comes back with a wig, I'm leaving.
I'm just
Maybe
going to
we should
say,
go to the Poly Market and bet on, is Coco sleeping or is he awake?
I'm just going to sit back and listen.
All right, Bob. Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right. Y'all take care.
Bye, sir. Hey, Miss Julie, welcome. Hey, Julie.
I think she muted.
Yeah, I think so.
Really, your mic's muted if you hear it.
Good
Hey.
evening.
Hey, Ryan. We're Julie's, I think, trying to fix her connection. We'll go to you until Julie comes back. How are you, Ryan? I tried to message you today and it didn't go through.
It didn't go through on Insta.
Yes.
You sent me a message?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't know that. I've been busy all day today, but I will go check it out.
So how are you, Mr. Ryan?
Good, just extremely busy today, just working and stuff. And yeah, I was on here earlier for just a tad bit, and saw John's mom talking and stuff like that, and I pray for her. I'm glad she's getting her phone taken away and she can try to get rest underneath the circumstances going on, because that's what her son would want, for her to rest and get some peace. But I understand the circumstances they're going through, and it just like you said earlier, the they have to step up to the plate and do what's right, and call out right is right and wrong is wrong. And the sheriff needs to either step aside or retract what's going on. And I understand law because I was in it myself for 7 years. But if even if I called it out wrong, and I would have retracted way before now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the proof's in the pudding. People lie, videos don't lie.
And I think that would help. Steve Strickland, I ask you what Ryan said. It's a good comment. I think it would give the community confidence and a vote of confidence that, hey, you know what? We set the record straight as much as we can without damaging the integrity of the case.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at this point, I don't know that you have a choice because you really have undermined your community as far as their trust goes. Not necessarily by any thing that you have said, but mostly through omission. The omission is what has caused the mistrust in the community, and that's what they're looking for. Is they're looking for some sort of comfort and direction from the sheriff as to, okay, we've got this, and we're headed in this direction, and this isn't this isn't a who done it like the Nancy Guthrie case. This deserves upfront communication, and the right thing to do is to bring the state in and let the state run it. And I get it. Nobody wants to give up an investigation, but at the same time, like I said at the beginning, you've lost the trust, and the way to gain it back is to let somebody else take a look at it. So yeah, Ryan's exactly right.
Yeah, Ryan. We appreciate you, man. And
Of course.
If you see that message,
and if you need to go, if you still want to go, I'm ready to go. Boots on the ground. At a drop of a hat, I'm ready.
I sent you a message there, so see if you have it. If not, we'll reconnect tomorrow night and we'll figure out to. I'll give you my cell number or something.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye bye.
Recovery Chick, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you? Welcome in. Where are you
I'm
at?
good. So I actually live in Kanawha County, and I didn't know, John, that this whole tragedy has caught my attention. I went to a service yesterday, and just seeing so many people there, and just like me, just strangers who just come to show their condolences. And I'm just so angry, man. I wake up every morning and I check my phone thinking, oh, I'm going to see charges have been pressed, and every day I don't. And I'm just so angry. It's just like the good old boy system in these small towns in West Virginia and other places needs to stop. It's not okay.
Would you be so kind? And I want to make sure you get your comments, your questions out there. But a lot of folks may not have seen that service. Can you just give us a snapshot of what was going on there, the amount of people, and I heard it was an incredible showing.
Yeah, it was. I actually follow another TikTok creator who was making a live Bex about going down the road and stuff, and going to the services, and that's what made me jump up, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. And we showed up about 6 o'clock, and there was a line outside the church. It took over an hour just to even get into the church, let alone get through and get up to the front to pay your respects. And I wasn't able to even stand and make it through the whole thing, but I was there over an hour, and just meeting other people that were strangers that didn't know him from Adam, just there because they're angry too, and it's just not right. And just showing the family that we support them, and that we're not going to stop fighting for justice.
Yeah, Steve, the videos probably doesn't do what she's describing justice. I don't know if you got to see that. I know you were out.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. I mean, and just, I mean, obviously, you just have, if you didn't get to see it, you just have to imagine. I mean, you're looking through one man's camera, but there were, because there's 1,700 people that attended. You just have to imagine the crowd that's just everywhere around him and behind him. So, yeah, I would agree. Knowing now that 1,700 people were there, the one video, there's no way it did it any justice. And no disrespect. I think what he did was he had the family's permission, and it was his way of allowing everybody else to be there.
Yeah, I was very thankful for that that video and that live. So tell me something. You guys went and saw. You're upset. You're mad. What did Scott Summers give you some confidence tonight after hearing the family lawyer on here?
Um, yeah, somewhat. Um, I just, like I said, I'm still hurt and I'm still angry that this is even continuing. I know investigations take time and things, but I'm sorry, but if this was anybody else, they would already be in jail and the investigation would be continuing from
You
there.
see me pointing my finger, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're right on point.
Yeah, I mean, if this was me, like in my previous life, I'm a previous drug addict. Like I've changed my life, but if this was me 10 years ago, it would be not innocent until proven guilty. It would be throw you in jail and then they'll do the investigation and prove you're guilty.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't want to get too spicy tonight. I got spicy a little bit earlier. I'm trying to stay calm, but it gets the hair on my neck stands up on this case. And Steve, I know you agree with it. And Recovery Chick, you just hit the nail on the head. Had this been John or Mary, whatever, I don't think we would be seeing the outcome that we're seeing today. I mean, I truly believe and I agree with you that they would have been arrested.
Yeah, and I don't think, again, if it was John or Mary, I don't think it would have happened that night. But at least by now, after video comes out, we're talking a week later. By now, yes, I think there certainly should have been an arrest. It's and Rich made a good point, or maybe it was you. I can't remember. It all runs together at this point. My brain doesn't work right sometimes, but the fact of the matter is we've looked at this from so many points of view, and there's nothing you can say. I mean, from the video evidence that there's just nothing that can satisfy anything or anybody to say that something shouldn't have been done by now.
And the fact that they're getting paid, they're getting paid right now. That ugh.
Yeah,
No,
and I can tell you this. Typically, something like this where there's a question of that kind of stuff, most of the times you would think they would be suspended without pay.
Are you talking about the EMTs that were involved in this?
Yeah, so
if they get suspended like they should, they will not be paid. They will be suspended. They can't drive the ambulance. They can't be near the firehouse. They can't do anything.
Well,
they get no pay, no nothing.
Yeah, they're currently on paid administrative leave.
Must be nice. Yeah. You kill somebody and you can get paid. Wow.
Well, Recovery Chick, thank you for coming up.
That's personnel services line.
Let me ask you a question, and we'll go to Julie. What do you like about the community? I mean, we've seen TikTok, and I want to talk about attitudes and people getting angry. You've seen the comments in the community. I mean, doesn't this community just absolutely rocket compared to the other viral and nasty TikToks that you've seen in the past?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not even from that community. I mean, I live in on the other side of the county, but even everywhere I go, people are talking about it. My work, the dentist office, everybody's talking about it, and it warms my heart. But like, that's not enough, obviously, because these girls are still out here running free. Like, it's not enough.
Yeah. Let's see what happens tomorrow. We're going to cover it. We're not going away, so we're going to be here. We're here. We're not going. We're not leaving.
All right. Good night, guys.
Yes, ma'am. Bye. All right, Julie. You're going to be
Hey.
the last guest. You always seems. Yeah, we always get you in, Miss Julie. How are you?
Good. Hubby's here too. Um, somebody asked in the chat why haven't they been arrested yet? Because they have to go through the dash cam they have, the voice recorder, and there's so many legalities that they have to go through. So, like I said, I can't believe they're getting paid, but
because it's a personal service.
He says it's a personal service, so therefore, but even
Well,
the
I mean,
sheriff, if he
you're right on point with all of that, Julie. I mean, it's we heard from the family lawyer, and unfortunately, it's going to take some time. But like you, Julie, like Steve, like myself, and like the entire community that's in this chat currently, we want to see justice sooner than later.
oh yeah,
And I
and
want to
if
see
the
somebody in
sheriff,
handcuffs.
if the sheriff is in here or somebody's recording for him, I think the best thing for him to do is go to the state police and bow out of it.
Yeah,
It had nothing to do with it. Let the state police take care of it,
that's right.
and then we know that nothing is going to hopefully get swept under the rug or whatever, because right now, like you said, this feels like a Nancy 2.0.
You got that. All right, Miss Julie, we're going to be here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Be
Okay,
square. You got to be here.
I will.
Good night,
Y'all be
man.
good.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
All right, Steve, let's wind this thing down. We always do it. Let's do one takeaway, man, because we've strung this out, strung it out. I want to be respectful of people's time, but a lot went down tonight. We learned a lot of information. Take it away.
Yeah, we heard from a couple people tonight, Michael and Scott, who both, know the sheriff. They have confidence in him. They say he's an honorable guy. So I don't want people to think that we're disrespecting him or that we feel like that the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office cannot handle this case, because that's not at all what we're saying. The thing is, like I said just a minute ago, you lost the trust of the people. And the way to get that back is to step out of it and say, I understand where you're coming from. I understand your feelings. We will work. We're bringing the state in. We will work side by side with them. We will give them everything we have, and we will continue to help them in the investigation, because when the state comes in, they're going to need resources as well. And they're going to use the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office as those resources. So we're not in any way, shape, or form discrediting the sheriff or this agency at all. We just want to make sure, like the community does, that everything is above board. And we're not saying that they're not. We're not saying that they are crooked. We're saying give the opportunity to the state and let them work this, because when you're too close to a situation, sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees. And somebody coming in from the outside with a different perspective has a lot better chance at it. So for those in the chat that, are talking about the sheriff and stuff, you have your opinion. I don't have a problem with that at all. But, just understand that, again, we're not discrediting him. I'm not saying he's a bad person at all. I just know from experience how things work and how much better it could be for him using the state.
Couldn't have said it better myself, but I will say again, we need justice.
Right.
We need justice quickly and swiftly. And at the very least, Steve, we're not quitting until the record is set straight for John Curtis Lucas. And I may not have the faith in the sheriff that you have, but what I do have is I have faith in the family lawyer, and I've got faith from our hometown folk that are here tonight. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow night, guys, I don't know what we're going to line up for you. We'll get somebody on. Thank you, guys. Steve, I think Rich, where the heck did Rich go?
I don't know.
He just left. Guys, did you see Rich Brown? He just left.
I think he's going to have to pay a penance for that tomorrow night, maybe. I mean, unless he's got a great excuse or a new wig to show us.
Hold on one second. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to post this. Haley had just sent me a text of that poem. And the family's given us permission to post that, guys. So I'll get that posted up quickly. And my God, man, I only read the first 3 sentences, and I'm like, that's some pretty heavy stuff. So look for that on the post here shortly. I'll get the poem posted up. And guys, if you can, once that post is posted, I don't care if you put my name and scratch my name out. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. Share that poem out as much as you can, and keep sharing the poem out, because it's once you see that, you're gonna be like, it's heavy, Steve. All right, guys, everybody, thank you. Amazing live with the community, and want to thank Scott Summers. Want to thank Michael for stepping in. And of course, it goes without saying, the family and everybody in the chat. We couldn't do this without you. It's your show. It's your chat. You own the room. So, Steve, we'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m.
Sounds good.
Good night, family.